Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
All right, we're on our trip back from Kansas. Just left Harper, Kansas, headed to somewhere in Waynesville, Ohio. Got a few hours ahead of us. We're not going to record this whole time, obviously. That would be quite the headache. But, all right, who's in the car with me?
Meghan Yarnell.
I'm Tony Young.
What's your Insta?
I'm at Meg Callie, MEGHCALLIE.
And I am at Youngy, so it's YOUNGY and then an underscore 03.
All right, so we just got done with the workshop. Yeah, what did you all think overall? Maybe what did we come in to do? I guess would be. Who wants to explain like what we did?
So we were meeting up with Kevin Kowalski, who's another high school art teacher, but a professional artist out in California. And Kevin builds these. It's basically an electric kiln. He converts to a soda kiln. And so we went in to build one at Isaac Shue's Gallery Mostaza. And so we built one of those. And I mean, expectation-wise, I don't know. I went in with like low expectations, just in the sense of like, I don't want to get my hopes too high. And I know this first firing can be kind of hit and miss, and who knows. So, I mean, I don't want to go crazy and tell you.
I think we came in. He was telling us, we got to coat the soda on the walls.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of ambient soda that's just going to be coming off and coating the pots, but they kind of over soda it, I guess, in the firing to account for that a little bit. Because he's done, I think this is his fourth kiln build, what are you saying?
Yeah.
So he's got a little bit under his belt.
I was more excited just to see like the process and just, we started with the cement pad and just parts and pieces and just building the foundation and then putting that mortar in the kiln and building the chimney with the damper and just seeing like the whole thing come together.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
It was less like, it seemed more attainable, like you could do it without too much. I was worried there was going to be so much metal working and you got to like cut the hole for the, inserting the soda and all that with the angle iron, but it seemed manageable.
Yeah, I think
it's just like bursts of intense hard work.
I think it's something that like if we go home and we build one, I mean we did it in a day. I think that's because you got Kevin leading it. He's an expert. He knows what he's doing.
And Isaac did some prep.
And there was prep.
Besides getting materials.
There was prep done. I think this would be a well over a few days week job if you went at it. And having help would be huge.
Yeah, I think Isaac coating the inside of the kiln body. I don't know if he did that a day before or a week before, but
at least a day.
I'm sure that probably took him 3 to 4 hours to coat.
Easy, man. Just mixing the different batches because he did it in batches to do each ring.
Yeah,
that takes time. That's a lot of time.
Probably be like a couple rings in a day, and then take a break and do
in that Kansas heat.
And then like all the bricks, unloading all those bricks and transporting everything, and just making sure. There's just so many. I mean, I guess materials.
Yeah, there was more math involved too, with just how high you needed the chimney to be and how high the bag wall needed to be.
To get the draft correct and all those things, for sure. Those are things that I wouldn't even think of. I would just think it's standard, but it's like the burner is custom fit from, what do you say, Ward?
Yeah, and it's calculated based on the volume of the kiln you're using, and I think he was saying the smallest kiln he would recommend would be like a Scud 1227. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
So it was pretty deep. It was I want to say it's like a 7 cubic foot kiln. So it was a good size because half of the kiln is going to be empty on one side because
you lose a lot of space.
That's where the fuel's coming in the bag wall.
But how many cups did we get in there? I mean, I feel like we had at least
how many pieces
20, 30 pieces in there.
There were more than that, I think.
Okay.
Especially
I brought, if you include the little shot glasses and shit, I feel like I brought 15 myself.
I know. I probably had 10 cups in there, and then I had a bunch of little pieces.
Yeah, so there were. How many of us were there at the workshop? 6, 7. So it was the 3 of us. Isaac Shue, obviously.
Brian Wilkerson.
Andrea
Garcia. Jennifer Christensen. Otter Falls.
Nathan
Isaac
Falls.
he only put the
He
one.
has a real name. It's Nathan.
Nathan
Nathan
Falls.
Falls.
Yeah, so it was a good number of folks, and then each person got at least a couple pieces. I don't know if Nathan put anything in, but he was more like
Yeah,
shadowing
and they're gonna
building
fire
stuff out.
afterwards, so he's
Yeah,
there.
He's there for another month and a half. or
Yeah,
so.
he's on like a residency, so I'm sure he was like he's stoked to fire. He was talking about like firing again soon, and
Yeah.
Isaac just again shitting with him like, oh dude, we ain't firing this till like October, probably, man. Like we ain't got time for that. Like
Yeah, I don't know, the intensity. I mean, it was a long firing. The intensity of just like figuring shit out in the moment and troubleshooting, I feel is going to be so stressful when you're doing that on your own and Kevin's not right there to be.
I will say this, Kevin talked to me on the side at one point and told me too, like he goes, dude, I fire these things in like 7 hours. And he goes, typically, like I fired right before I came here and I fired in 7 hours. He goes, it's so much easier once it's all done. Like this initial firing is like, it just seems like a lot more.
Because he just has a rough schedule and he understands.
Yeah. And I think like once the kiln is coated and it's just different. Like after it's seasoned, I don't know.
Because our total firing was what, like 12 hours?
Yeah, it was long.
11 hours.
He said he does it in 7 to 8.
Yeah.
So that's not that bad then. It's really just getting to temp and adding the soda and then.
Yeah. Because we had some really bad storms and stuff. I don't know if the moisture. I mean, there's moisture still in the.
Could have
wall,
affected stuff. Yeah.
The cement, I'm guessing
Cement.
the wadding and stuff doesn't. You don't want to blow that up. So you
Yeah,
don't
that's the
blow
other
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Remember, we added and filled all the seams, so they patched all those, so that was fresh. So that's why he was like slow rolling at 2 to start with, which you don't need to do that once it's seasoned.
Yeah. And I don't know if did he say if he would have candled it a little bit overnight before we started if it wasn't for the rain and all that?
They did candle
I
it
thought
some.
he did candle it.
They
a
did
little bit,
some.
yeah.
He did like up until we loaded it, and then I think when we covered it up, we had to turn it off.
Yeah, I think they cut it because
So maybe it
obviously
was
the
like
storms were-
maybe 100 degrees in there or something when we loaded it. I don't know, but yeah, it was quite the. And he was saying just like make sure you do as much as you can to produce a good result. There's such a long list of options you could use that are gonna tweak it and make it a little bit better. The tanks, I was wondering about those tanks. Like you can't just do it with a propane tank for your grill.
Yeah.
Because once you get to those high temperatures, it's just too much overload.
Yeah, I didn't know going in we'd have to have 2 tanks. And if you did have 2 tanks, I was like, oh, well, it'll be like you swap one out real quick. Like at some point, I didn't know you needed to draw from 2 of them. I thought that was like
Yeah.
pretty wild.
Yeah, but he's got that thing down so that
Yeah, he does.
his list is just, follow this. It's going to be a big investment, but you got to be committed to doing it
Yeah.
anyways. You're not going to be doing all that process without a long-term plan to like utilize it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, we were saying if we built it ourselves, it would be a one-man job. It'd probably be a collaborative thing to,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
do it with at least a couple people, 2 or
Yeah.
3 people, and maybe do some prep work a week or 2 before, and then. So what kind of, do you want to explain your all's work and like what you came into the kiln with, like what type of surfaces you have or what kind of characteristics you have of your work?
Yeah, so I use a lot of like surface decoration on my work. I do inlay and stencils and sgraffito, and then inlay into the sgraffito. So I really like tried to keep mine a little bit simpler than like my typical work, because I knew a lot of like the detail work was going to get washed out, and ended up it got washed out a little bit more than I thought it would. Because even some of my like stencils that were like thicker and 3D, like you can't really even see them. So I think if I did it again, I would just do carving, I would do stencils, but like no inlay at all on anything. And I think I would do the flashing slip at the greenware stage because I sprayed it on bisque. I don't think it really made that much of a difference. I think I would also try and like shield my pieces from, like I use a cone, a mid-range growlic porcelain, and I got a lot of carbon trapping. So I don't really like the look of that, but I think if I did it again, like I would try and shield them a little bit more from that.
Yeah, Kevin was saying the porcelains versus like stoneware and all that.
Yeah, I might use a different clay for that.
Yeah.
Like I really like my clay in oxidation, but I didn't really like it. I like the inside, but I didn't really like how the outside looked.
Do you think that would help would you be more likely to like commit to soda firing if you were to use a different clay body? Would that help you like compartmentalize the work and like say, okay, I'm making this body just for soda?
Yeah, I
versus,
think I would
pulling
make
from
like
your-
a separate line of work just for soda firing and use just like not a drastically different clay body, but something a little bit different. Like I don't like Brian Wilkerson was using that raccoon clay and it looked really good.
Yeah. That was like
Yeah,
some of my favorite pieces were
Yeah.
all of his. Yeah. They look great.
Yeah, you had a lot of grit.
I was gonna say my work is like graffiti inspired. I use tons of underglaze. I stencil with underglaze. I use a lot of the like these contemporary underglaze transfers that everybody's using, collaging them, layering them all over, and then I do some hand painting on top of stuff after I screen print. And so I'm doing a lot of different things and really heavy underglaze work that some of it burned out a lot, and I expected it because I have soda fired before. I got some really rough, gritty, bubbly things happen with some of my underglaze too, so I'm not sure if I need to like maybe find a Celadon that works and covers things a little more, or some of the ones I like the most were my like ones where I did some of my stamping and textural work, so I think I would go heavier on that too. Like I would really push stamping, texture work. I think like Megan said, maybe try a different clay body. I actually put 4 different clay bodies in. My normal work is mid-range B-Mix by Laguna, and then I actually put in some of my slip cast tumblers, which are like a white stoneware. What was my other? I had a brown speckled clay, which what's I having? It has.
What were those? Were those the thrown mugs or something?
One of my thrown mugs was a brown speckled clay, and it was just basically leftover mugs from when I did the Imposters, when I was like imitating Meredith Host, and so I basically threw one of those in with my stuff on it. It brought all the speckles to the outside and almost kind of like gritty rough. So I've got some ideas of what I'm going to do to go home and try and maybe refire a few of my pieces that were, I mean, they're just a little gritty, grungy to the point where like I wouldn't feel comfortable selling them. Like they're fine.
What if it's in like a family of the soda fired? So it's like these are kind of the assortment of options you can get, and this is like what I would take from this piece that maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's still a functional piece, right?
Yes.
It didn't like crack or anything.
Nah, it was a little rough. One of them, a couple of them had a little bit of like chippiness happening.
I had one that had some pretty bad warping.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
really?
I didn't see much warping
Yeah.
in any
It
of
was like
mine.
ovaled or something?
Oh yeah, it was oval.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it had to have been closer to the. I'm trying to think of where that one. No, because that one was. I mean, it was on the top, so I think the top we hit almost cone 7, right? Or did
I think it was 6.
okay?
Honestly,
like I
some-
like
6.5,
a
but
firm 6.
Some of my top pieces were my favorite ones of mine.
Okay.
The tumblers I thought were like not great for either one.
Yeah.
My sippers I think did the best. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Sippers texture work for me. Anything where I stamped and had some of that going on, I felt like I really loved what it was doing with that. So I would do a lot more of that.
Because Tony, I feel like most of yours, we were very cognizant to not get them within direct contact
Yeah.
with as much soda as we could.
Yeah, we were
so
trying to
that-
protect / hide my
'cause-
stuff.
And some of those, like even, I mean, your bottoms were like with the wads and stuff. You know, some of like wood firings and stuff, it'll get underneath, but
Yeah.
this is pretty going from the top down
Yep.
through a shelf, and
Yep.
it's not really getting on the bottom. So like some of your underglaze
The
work on
bottoms
the
were
bottom
clean.
edge, and you got that sharp undercut on the shoulder,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the waistline, and some of that color like stayed there.
That's where I think it hit some of my
Armadillo.
tumblers.
There was an armadillo on the side of the road.
Armadillo!
Oh, I did see
Yes,
it, yeah.
it was dead, but I saw
Let's
it.
go back. Wait, we have a 14-hour drive. Let's not. But yeah, I think my tumblers got hit because they're taller, and everybody's stuff was short because we all had mugs, we all had sippers, we all had whatever,
Yeah.
and they stuck up above some of the things, even though they were back and they were kind of protected. And also maybe it was just
Yeah, I
they
think
were that
those
slip
sharp-
cast stoneware. I don't
those
know.
sharp angles like bowls, I feel like would look amazing in there.
Yeah.
The insides of bowls and like the outside. It was just,
I'll be really curious to see what this thing does in another firing, like when Isaac fires next time, and
yeah.
that'll be pretty cool to like. It's season then. Okay,
Yeah,
now
the-
what's it gonna look like?
And the one piece that he put in there, that pumpkin,
was
looked
gorgeous.
amazing. Was that on the top? Or?
What glaze did he have on that
He
pumpkin?
did the green mat over the
Okay.
the what you call it, that one
yeah,
combo.
that rutile.
Yeah.
Or the rutile, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
we had
That
a
was wild.
flashing slip, and we had about 4 glazes, I think.
Yeah. I threw in some. I mean, I don't know if you guys
Oh,
saw me.
yeah.
I was sneaking in like, I did that ancient copper that's just a Potter's Choice glaze. I used that Celadon Pear, which is just a Celadon from Amico.
Did you find out if that's what the one on top shelf was?
It was. Because Kowalski had a picture of it, and it was just all green, so that was it.
Okay.
What did Brian use on the one that was all like green and Celadon looking? It was really pretty. Or was that just soda on his clay?
Was it the blue face one or not?
I can't remember. It didn't have any
turquoise in the eyes and nose.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
I don't know if I even totally looked his over well.
I didn't look at his enough.
Yeah, I didn't
Once
either.
they got out.
Yeah. Same.
I should have looked.
I need to get a good Wilkerson. Wilkerson, if you're listening.
Yeah, same.
Need one Broham.
Yeah.
I've got your old school one from 18 when we met at Pittsburgh in Seca.
Fucking Brian Wilkerson. That's like the first long engagement I've had with him.
Yeah?
That shit, he's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
Did you say the F word on your podcast?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
My goodness.
Fuck yeah. All right. Let's
Ooh.
drop them. Yeah, I love Wilkerson. Like, I actually didn't even know he was coming until about a week ago. I think he commented something, and I was like, "Are you coming, Brian?" And he's like, "I think so, man." And I'm like, that's just that's my interpretation of his text message to me.
Yes.
But it's like, I just knew he was coming, and that dude makes me happy. I enjoy Brian a lot.
He's okay.
He does try.
So
and,
have you all known him from like just from
Ensika.
Ensikas and stuff?
I have known him since 2018. I have no idea how we got connected, other than like I think we direct messaged each other, and he's like, "Yeah, man, let's trade a cup." And I was like, "All right." So we meet up at Companion Gallery when they set up at that really rad church spot.
Yeah, we
I can't
went there
remember what it was
together.
called.
But that was when I was super pregnant, remember?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So like, I met up with him there, and then he was trying to meet up with Mike Regan, so Mike FX on Instagram. So like, we all meet up, and then those dudes are like talking about getting an Uber, and I'm from Ohio, and I drove to Pittsburgh that year, and I had my like vehicle right outside. I literally parked right on the sidewalk, right in front of the door. I was like, if you guys want me to drive, I'll drive us around. And Brian's like, let's go, man, in his in his twang.
Yeah, because he had to drive all the way from Tennessee, so he had a similar drive to us.
He might have flown. I don't think he had a vehicle.
Oh, I was thinking from here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. From here, too. Yeah. But, like, when we were in Pittsburgh, like, I legit then drove us around all night, and that's just how we became friends. I've stayed with them in Ensika. I've roomed with Mike and Brian for the last 3 of them.
Yeah. And he's also a high school and college professor?
Yeah, I thought he was just a community college or
It's kind of like an adjunct program where the kids get college credit, I think, is what
He said it was like a governor scholar.
Yeah, it's at like the high school, but they get, it's like a dual credit kind of deal.
Yeah, him as a professor, like, oh man, those kids are...
Yeah, I would love to be in that class.
As Brian said, kids either love him or they really love him. I'm just like, dude, I'm just waiting for him to say obviously the opposite, or they hate me. No, they really love me. With a twang.
Heard some long jokes, heard some short...
Oh my God.
He's going to listen to this and be like, you motherfuckers.
We're going to get him on the podcast. He is a character.
He is, dude. He might set records for you.
Yeah. Classic.
He is just funny, man. He's just a good dude. He's always looking to do something, like he said, to like make people laugh, and I enjoy that. Like, I need those people because I get around these Debbie Downer people sometimes, and I'm like, you fucking, like, stop. You're like bringing down the room.
Yeah.
Like, let's have fun.
I'd much rather have somebody that like constantly lies and just bullshit consistently, like Isaac does that a lot.
You cannot believe a single thing that man says.
Well, here's the thing. Isaac, you know he's bullshitting you. Brian, I'm like debating every time. I'm like,
he's so straight faced.
Yeah.
Like,
did he really go to the Copper Lounge? well, obviously not now. Jesus, he's having sex with an animal.
You might need to edit that out.
Yeah, you might need to tell the whole story.
They'll have to.
Brian's gonna come on, and that's gonna be his whole talk with you. Is just him telling that story for the 9th time. Oh shit!
Sorry.
Pottery, Megan. Just run.
We're good.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this road keeps switching from like 50 to 65.
They're trying to trap you.
Yeah, it's really irritating.
Bastards.
Going through these little towns.
Lily Wu for mayor. Junk removal, free estimates. Woo. I would fly my ass right into here next time. I
Yeah.
am never driving to Kansas again. Guys, if you are any distance from Kansas, don't do it. It's so far.
It's a pretty boring drive too.
Yeah. I'm glad that we all came together,
It's a
because honestly,
lot
could you
of
imagine if
fields.
any of us did this solo? Like you
No.
drove this from Ohio solo.
No,
Oh
I
my
couldn't
God.
do it.
I wouldn't
couldn't do
either.
it.
I would have flown for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with all the work, like, how would you even, like, you'd almost have to ship stuff, right? You'd
Yeah.
have to ship the work out.
Or you'd have to
and
come a
ship it
little
back.
early and make the work there, biscuit. Like that's what Brian did. He made all of his work here.
But he didn't throw it there. He brought them thrown and carved
okay.
them there.
All right.
So like,
He probably could have, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he worked a little slower, though. in the
Our stuff
studio.
dried pretty quick yesterday.
dude, Kansas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hot.
No beach.
Lots of grasshoppers.
Just to let
We
you guys
did
know.
see a beach.
Oh yeah, we did see a
We
beach down
did.
by the creek.
A creek beach.
The creek.
The creek.
Oh my gosh.
So, how was it, like, were you all like all in when you heard about the workshop, or were you like on the fence, or how? Because you all both have families and stuff.
He
so how
talked
was that?
as soon as I knew it was going down. Like when he was like planning it, he reached out and even said something about it. I was like, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And he's like, for real, man? And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like, dude, if you're doing this, I'm gonna be there. And then in my head, I'm like, well, I gotta make sure everything lines up, and I just planned all my other things around
Yeah.
it or whatever. So yeah, I was all in, man.
mostly just because I knew cool people were going to be there, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to make this work.
Yes.
And then when I found out you guys were going, I was like, oh, we could totally make this work.
Yeah, and then being able to carpool was like clutch. Like,
Yeah.
When I found out RG Ceramics was going to be there, I was like, yes, I am 100,000% in now.
Andy's volunteering the vehicle. I mean,
when I knew Megan was going, I debated,
That's
but
not
then I
true.
said,
That is not true.
I guess I can tolerate her for 14 hours in a car.
So how have you all known each other? 'Cause you all
Tony and
have
I
a-
went to undergrad together, so we've known each other since like
Early 2000s,
2002.
1, 2, yeah. Like we went to Bowling Green State
Yeah.
University up in northwest Ohio, a little south of Toledo.
We were both art ed majors,
Yeah.
and we were at each other's weddings.
Yeah.
So we've been friends for a long
We're
time.
both high school ceramic teachers now, just in different areas. I'm like a little north of Columbus, and you're in
I'm in Perrysburg, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
a suburb of Toledo.
Yeah. We both have pretty good jobs, and
Yep.
it's awesome.
Good
Oh.
jobs, basement studios, couple kids. Who asked if we were married?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, it was
that
one of the visitors to the gathering.
Yeah,
they
they're
were like, "Are you married?" I'm like, "We're married, but not to
Did you
each
go
other."
with it?
Yeah.
We should have.
Make out with me, Megan.
I can say 100% I have never made out with Tony.
I've never made out with Megan either. That's
All
a
right,
fact.
it's on the record.
It's
so.
a fact.
Never made out.
Andy and Sarah.
Yeah.
Never happened.
You don't have anything to worry about. Yeah, we had a great experience in college. We were really fortunate to attend Bowling Green with the facilities that they had,
for sure.
and
Visiting-
the people that were there,
visiting artists,
the
John
instructors.
Dalster.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So being art education, does that mean you have to specialize in a studio art as well, or is it primarily education
Ish.
and you take studio art adjacent to it just to get like a cross section of different mediums, or how does that
Yeah.
work?
Supposed to. They were
Do you have your BA or your BFA?
BFA.
Okay,
I
so
think-
essentially it was a BFA program, just a straight up BFA. You had to specialize in either 2D or 3D, and then you had to pick a focus, so like 3D
Yeah.
with a focus in ceramics.
Yeah.
And then it was really like an extra semester.
Yeah, it
for
wasn't.
the
It wasn't
education.
crazy.
Yeah.
But I remember even going in and I had to take a fibers class. And I remember going in and talking to I think it was Politsky. So I go in and this lady's hilarious. She swears she was abducted by aliens, and she tells
Yeah.
us all this shit in classes, and she's a college professor. Just wild, like 60-year-old lady with braces. Like, where am I? But anyways, like, I go in and I'm like, I really don't want to take this fibers class. Like, I love clay now. I have figured this out. Is there any way we can like substitute this? She's like, oh yeah, just let me mark this and this.
Yeah,
And,
I got
like,
that one stuffed
She
out,
just
too.
flipped me out of this fibers class and I'm like, I'm never gonna do fibers in my life.
Yeah, I didn't have to do it either.
Like, but being there too, like, did you do glass blowing?
I did a couple semesters of glass
Did you
blowing.
really? I did one.
Love glass
You have
blowing.
glass blowing there?
We had
Yeah,
glass,
it
dude.
was
And I didn't
amazing.
do it because I ever thought there was a future in it. I did it for the experience.
It was so
I mean,
cool.
yeah. How else are you gonna have
Yeah.
access to those
You won't.
facilities?
I've done it exactly one time since I graduated. It's so expensive.
Did you do it at Toledo Glass Museum?
No, I
or-
did it in the Virgin Islands, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
My friend, Lisa Ryerson, was working at this resort in the Virgin Islands, and they had glass blowing there. So Andy and I we went and
Wow.
stayed down there for a week, and I blew glass for a little bit down there. It was
So
pretty
I'm
fun.
not gonna say I liked glass blowing.
Oh, I
Like
loved
when
it.
I did it, my qualm with it is that it's fast.
Yeah.
You everything's gotta be done fast, and when it cools, you're done. Like clay, I love that I can step back. I can walk away for
Put it in a damn
I can
box
walk away
or
for 6
something,
months if I
or-
put it in a damn
yeah.
box. Like with glass, you're fucked. You're done. Like it's. And one
So-
time I had to crawl behind and light the pilot light because the dude's like,
Oh, no,
"Hey, you."
that's scary.
I don't know if I was just like the d-bag guy that he's like, "Hey, let's make
Yeah,
this."
you absolutely
It was
were.
that's probably what it was.
Being in a class, are you like, you kind of have to rush through it a little bit because there's so many students that
Yes,
need access?
that's the other
Well,
thing.
you
Class,
sign up for a
studio time.
So you've got your time, and you've got a partner that's working with
Yes.
you. And what I liked about glass was that it was so intense. Where like when I'm doing ceramics, you can zone out, you can watch
Chill.
Netflix,
You can talk.
You cannot do that with glass. Because if you screw up, like you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And one time I was putting a handle on a cup in glass, and I like cut the bit off to recenter the heat, attached it to my cup, and my partner was like, your pants are on fire. And it was so hot in that
Liar,
studio
liar.
that like you couldn't even feel it. And I
No.
looked down and my pants were on fire, and it burned.
That's
my
the other thing. It was
leg.
hot as
I mean,
fuck, man. You're just sweating. Like,
yeah, I got hurt.
It was like
and
Kansas.
sucked.
It was like Kansas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hot.
it was
like,
too
so hot.
fast paced. It was
No,
like.
see, I
for
really
me,
liked it.
I don't know. I did.
I never
enjoy
wanted
it.
to make art with it. I just made like really functional pieces, which aren't actually functional because the type of glass that we were using, you can't like put in the microwave or
So
get hot.
I don't know if you knew this with so the Findlay High School art teacher, I can't remember his name right now. He's a nice dude, and I didn't even realize this, but he's got a brother that has bought like a warehouse or like an industrial building, something down in like the Dayton area, and opened a glass studio,
Oh,
and
cool.
has gotten like whatever you want to call it, a furnace glory whole deal, whatever. Like
I mean, there's a couple studios in Toledo.
sure,
It's just
yeah.
really and the equipment's expensive. Like
yeah.
everything's
it's
expensive
like
about
ceramics is expensive.
it. Like those pipes.
This
are
is
like
on a whole other.
$400.
Yeah, it's on a whole other level
Yeah,
to have like a vat.
and you can never turn the heat off. Like you gotta always keep that tank because you turn the heat off, the glass
Solidifies,
cools
you're
and
done.
cracks the tank.
Because they have an annealing kiln, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
right?
annealing
So
kiln.
that
Because you gotta
like,
bring it down
that
slowly.
like
You
eases
can't-
Yeah.
the glass
Yeah.
when it's cooling.
Yeah.
Did we just say Wichita? Is this Wichita?
We're getting close.
I don't feel like did we come this way? I
I
feel
mean,
like
this
we went a
looks
different
like a
way here.
downtown kind of.
Big city. We're in the big city,
Oh,
guys.
man.
Oh,
This
man.
guy's-
Oh, man, you see them buildings?
Kansas.
Oh man,
This is
civilization.
amazing.
They got Walmart and everything here.
Yeah. It's a 3-lane highway we're on right now.
Yeah.
Where's the dirt roads? I just love that there. Like this, like I'm like, how far is it to like a big grocery store? Oh, like an hour. What the hell do you do if you need something to run out or like? Oh my god.
So back to our education, like we actually I'm saying like our degrees were in the College of Arts and Sciences, so we don't actually have like an education degree. So in Ohio, I'm certified to teach art K through 12, but I can't teach anything else.
Yeah.
Art K through 12.
Yeah,
Yeah,
art like
I'm
K
the
through
same.
12 art.
Like in education, majors would get like a certification for like maybe K through 5 or 6
With a
through 8.
specialization in like math.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
So Tony, did you take ceramics and whatnot at that college?
For sure.
And were there other mediums that you really enjoyed?
I mean, I went in probably thinking drawing was my strongest, which I know now in life it was definitely not. But it's also one of those things where, like, I didn't have a clay experience in high school, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because I always tell people too, like, what if I had a clay experience and my teacher was awful and they just turned me off on clay,
Yeah.
and then I didn't even want to do it in college because I had such a bad high school experience or teacher. But then again, I don't know. I think I would have loved it still. I mean, who knows?
Do you feel like that influences how you teach your students now because
Oh,
you
for sure.
remember those?
You know how many art teachers I've met that they're like, why they became a ceramic, or not even ceramics teacher, just an art teacher in general, is because they had a bad art teacher and they loved art so much and they want to go like change that for other kids so they don't have a bad experience. And I'm like, I will not say my teacher wasn't bad at all. She was great, but she really veered towards 2D. So it was all painting, all drawing. We did some printmaking. We didn't do anything 3D. I don't even know if we had a kiln in my high school. So it's one of
I
those.
took ceramics. In
Yeah, you
high
had
school.
it. Like
Yeah.
you had the experience.
But I didn't like it in high school.
Oh, really?
No, I thought
That's
it was
wild.
really frustrating.
Wow.
I started out
or just
everything about it was really frustrating, and I started out as a painting major. My ceramics teacher, I actually ended up taking over for him. He retired a couple years ago, so I taught junior high art for 15 years, and then I switched over to high school ceramics. But no, he was fantastic. He was an amazing teacher. I just didn't have the patience or the maturity for the material at that point.
I can get that. I mean, I teach at a large high school, and you do as well, but like it's like I get kids that like I feel like I'm a pretty good teacher, but I give them the tools and let them go with it, and I just see them like light up, and there's so many good things happening, and and I'm just glad I can give them that experience. I almost feel bad because I'm like, you're gonna freaking love this so much. This might take over your life. I'm sorry for doing this to you, but like it's okay. Like, and I always tell kids too, like, dude, you're so smart. Go be the doctor. Go be whatever you're gonna be, and this can be your hobby. This can be like the thing you get like a pass to a studio somewhere around and go like make pots for stress relief and fun and like whatever, and you'll have the money to do it because you get that degree or that.
Do they prompt those questions in you of like, because I guess first off, do they both know that you all have like Instagram presence and you have a business on the side?
Yeah, most of them
and you make time for it even though you have families and all that stuff?
Yeah, a lot of mine do. They figured out or find out, especially when I bring in tons of other potters' work.
Yeah.
And they're like, why do you have all these? And I'm like, well, here's my work too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, a lot of my trade and swap, they're like, do you sell these? They always give me like do you sell your work? I'm like, a little bit. And like, I sell a lot of work. And it's like, you know, it just kind of leads to they figure it out, you know.
Yeah.
Or
and Meg, what do? You have some work that you bring in. What do you?
Yeah, so I do something called Clay of the Week, where every week I bring in a new piece from my collection, and my students draw it, and then they respond to it. A couple different questions, like, you know, how do you think this was made? What do you like about it? Just a couple like basic things, and then I post them in my Instagram, so they get really excited if I post their drawing.
Kids love social media love.
And some kids really do a beautiful job on the drawing.
Yeah, they do. I've seen a lot of them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they really like that. I don't know if they really appreciate like the art. You know, some of them that I'm like, oh man, like get nervous about bringing in. They're like, I don't really like that
the
one.
quality
that
of
much.
work that you're bringing in.
They don't have no idea.
Do you ever see kids, the work you bring in, show them, have them draw? Does it ever influence any of their work too much?
No, not really.
Like I literally had a girl. So I had my kids do a project. It was a cup with a home. So they had to create a cup.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
that
they had
cool.
to make a home, a place that it goes back to. Like, and I didn't want it to be a coaster. Like I really stressed, like this should not just be a thing you sit it on, like a slab of clay. Like I wanted it to be like something. Like one girl did one for Prince, and she had this like awesome handle that was like his symbol, and it went back to like a crown. Like it sat in like this crown, and that was really gorgeous. And but I had one girl, like I remember she did whatever. No, she enjoyed like the Betsy Morningstar, who makes the paper cups. They look like lined notebook paper. This girl made like a lined notebook paper cup, and it was just like you could just tell that like stuck with her. Like I brought those in, they got to see all these cups.
That's cool.
And it really had nothing to do with that project when I was doing it. It was actually beforehand. But like when she went to make a cup, she remembered that, and she was trying to replicate paper, and like it was just cool to like see be influenced. And it's okay to like whatever. Like I don't want kids to copy, but like at that level, like if you're trying to replicate some other artist, that's okay. Like to explore, and it was just really cool to see.
Yeah, at that age group, they're still figuring out the techniques and like just focusing on something and getting like
and you
dug
have
in
a goal
to a project like that is probably really good.
It was
for them
cool.
and not.
So
do you
I
see
do
that every day with the students, or is it just like it's out of the ordinary to see students?
I see quite a bit. I push contemporary potters and sculpture artists and art in general on my kids constantly. I have them do like research projects where it's like, okay, you've got to go to artaccess.org and you've got to find 5 ceramic artists, blah blah blah, and like I have them write down what they like about their work, describe it, maybe sketch it, I do different things, but I'm like, I force them to go look for it because I don't think they'll do it on their own. I actually know they won't, and there's definitely some of them would never. So it's like I force them into it, and sometimes that is like the spark they need. They don't know what's out there. Like they don't follow artists, most of them.
No, they don't, but they'll tell me a lot of times, like they'll look up the people on Instagram, like the Clays of the Week. Just sometimes they DM them, which is pretty funny. But then they're like, oh, I've got all this pottery in my Instagram now, so that's kind of fun when they do that. It's fun to watch kids get hooked because, you know, every year I've got a couple kids that you just see that they start coming in on their lunch. We have early release and like late arrival, but they start coming in or staying late.
They could go home,
but they don't.
Choose.
They want to
I love that.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the best parts about teaching. It's just fun. I don't know, like last year I had like 8 kids that would just, you know, eat lunch in my room every day and make stuff. And yeah, no, I think that's neat. It's fun.
Yeah, when I was in high school, that was when I started in clay, and it was
This way.
Turnpike.
yeah, it was nice way in Kansas City, and the professor that I liked the most, actually I never had. The way this class is lined up, I always had Miss Jaffe, and Mr. Payne was the other guy that taught, and I would go in there. I kind of had a study hall period, and I could spend that time
Only option.
and go into the ceramics class during that period, and then we also had like clay club after school a little bit.
Yeah. Did you have a clay club?
I did not have a clay club. We have an art club.
Yeah, we have an art club too. So it's like, I don't want to step on toes of doing another one.
Yeah,
I think I could.
You know, maybe when my kids are a little bit older.
I don't know about your school.
Like,
My school has 120 clubs or something stupid.
we have a lot of clubs.
We have a Nintendo club.
Oh.
We have
an esports team at my school.
We have a chess club.
Yeah.
Where all like the chess nerd kids come in and
There's
play
still
chess.
we don't call them
recall,
nerds,
is that a
Tony.
thing?
Nerd is a great term. I am a ceramic nerd, Megan, and so are you. It's good to be a nerd. Like me and my dude G talk about that all the time. We're like, you want to be a nerd in something. Like it doesn't matter what it is. If you're a book nerd, a ceramic nerd, like, whoa, nice drop.
Yeah.
Jesus, Kansas.
Oh my gosh, it's going back up. I'm making me really nervous.
Well,
Yeah,
do it
okay,
before you hit a
okay.
cone.
Okay.
Do it before you hit Wilkerson's friends. Ah! Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think the clay club is how we got access to like go to the soda firing when I was in
Really?
high school.
That's cool.
You got to go to a soda firing in high school?
Did you go to a Catholic
we
school?
went to one in
It's going to go to Merge.
in like southern Indiana.
Oh my god, he knocked over a cone. He knocked over a cone.
Wilkerson, he took out your buddy.
I don't know what he's doing. Is he coming over?
Yeah, I think it was a soda
Nervous.
firing
Okay.
or a salt firing. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went to this guy's studio in like southern Indiana. And
Dude, that is awesome.
we slept on site, kind of camping style, and did this kiln firing and stuff. It was great being able to
You went
do
to
that
just like
when I was
a Catholic school, right?
Yeah, Catholic high school.
Was it a big school?
Yeah, we had probably.
Let's put it this way:
400 per grade.
if your teacher will
Okay.
take you to that, you obviously had like someone
Yeah,
who
that's
cared about
pretty
ceramics
cool.
and shit.
Right,
like-
that was the guy that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Mr. Payne. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
See, that's
he really loved atmospheric firing
That's
and wood
awesome.
firing. He makes like face mugs, kind of like Wilkerson a little bit, but every single one is different.
cool.
And he always loves wood firing them. So
That gives me like an idea. Like I want to try and take some kids to go do something like that. Like I don't know what there is available. Like I'd have to go hit Ohio State. I mean, I know Otterbine's got a gas kiln, but I don't know if a gas kiln's
Yeah.
exciting to them. Like I want to take them and see
I
like
think wouldn't that be exciting?
still be cool. I mean, it's still a big gas kiln, but
Yeah. What kind of facilities do you all have? Is it all electric, or do you have raku?
school.
At school, I have 2 electric kilns.
I have 3 electric 1027s,
Okay.
and I have a raku kiln in the back room that the other art teacher got right before COVID hit, and we never got it going, and it's kind of chilled there for like 3 years.
Okay.
So it's something I want to do. I don't have the experience doing it though. I've never raku fired actually. So
Okay. Do you actually have like room for it with the administration like support?
I think I'm gonna go outside and just ask for forgiveness after I.
Sometimes it's easier to ask. for
They're gonna be like, "What the
permission.
hell's
Like,
Mr. Young do out there with that big
Yeah.
flamethrower?" Just firing a kiln, guys. Don't worry about it.
I know the teacher before me did raku firing with the kids, and I know he also did like a pit firing at one time too.
Yeah.
So
Well,
at one point, the administration was cool with it.
That's my thing. We have 4 high schools in my district. 4 high schools in my district, and I know one of the other high school does raku. But again, it's like it's school to school. You'll hear they did it, and then you go to do it, and they're like, "No, you can't do that." I'm like, "Well, why can they do it?" Like, but I mean, it just depends on the people. I think I could get support. I just got to make sure it's safe, and that's basically the main thing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like raku is one of those things that's if people have never done it and you're getting them excited, like the open flame and
Is exciting.
The grabbing the piece directly out of
Yes.
the hot kiln is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And they're not they don't care that much about the functionality part of it.
No.
That's why I'm not as crazy about Roku. I've done it, but
Yeah, it's not.
it's not something that
Can
I
it be
like as a
functional at all in the sense of like
Not for food.
you could never do like a
do
bowl
that.
You
or
can put like
cup.
apples in it or
Yeah.
something that you can't like
I
drink
think they got
milk
that
out of
liquid
it.
quartz now that you can line.
Oh, liquid quartz,
yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
Seals it and all
would
that,
work.
but I don't want to.
That's what like Amy Pinesen has been, or Amy Brumman. Sorry, I call her Amy Pinesen because her name's Pinesen Pottery or whatever.
Did she Raku fire some stuff?
No, but she uses that liquid quartz on the outside to seal her cups a lot. I think.
Betsy Morningstar's been using
Betsy's
it. There's a lot
been
of
starting
people
to
who've
use
been
it.
trying to use
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing a few people advertise that and use that.
Yeah, it's becoming all the rage.
All the rage. So how was the teaching? Were you teaching ceramics at middle schoolers?
I did like a clay unit, but it was like a survey of art that I did. So, painting, drawing, and I taught 6th grade for a while, and then I taught 7th and 8th grade. So it's kind of a little bit of everything.
And how did those students compare, or the teaching atmosphere compare to like now teaching high schoolers?
Well, so the best way to describe it for me are like junior high kids, middle school. They're kind of like golden retrievers where they need a lot of attention
Pats
all
on
the
the
time. Pats on the head. You gotta give them treats. They want to play. You gotta play fetch with them.
You got to give them Vienna sausages.
Vienna sausages.
I'm from the Dollar General.
High school kids are more like cats. You just give them some food and water. You give them some pets every once in a while, and they just kind of are like more self-sufficient. So yeah, I don't know. Like they're both fun for different. I'm glad I taught a variety of ages because they're fun for different reasons.
Yeah, I think I did middle school just for my my placement back in the day when we had to do our student teaching, and that's the only experience I had with younger kids, except for I've taught high school from the get-go, and I love high school kids. Like
does it help it? Like, does it adjust your?
I
feel
think
like it would be graceful going from middle to high because you're a little more. I feel like does confidence as a teacher getting into the classroom with these students that are older? Does that make a difference at all?
I still feel like the expert no matter what, like always, because I just feel like I have so much experience, especially now. Like I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I taught photo when I went to the school where I had to start with, and I had no photo experience from college. And my other art teacher, my dude, like basically taught me photography. And I went in and was teaching kids how to use DSLRs, and I had no clue almost. He was almost teaching me the period before sometimes. Yeah. And I'm going in and teaching them stuff, and then shit would go wrong, and I don't know how to do it because I'm like not that great with photo. And that was tough, man. Like I was discouraged in the sense of like I didn't feel confident. Like I need to feel confident in what I'm doing. And clay, like I feel confident always, but.
And if Tony doesn't feel confident in something, like that's a red flag because he's. I always joke that if I had the confidence of Tony's like little pinky toe, like I could take over the world.
And I'm an athlete, so I mean, I don't know. got lots going for me. I got a bad back, like an 80-year-old man. And
yeah, we had to stop so many times because Tony's back is just seizing up on it.
Old man Tony's back.
I'm gonna get home and just seize.
Yeah, my student, with clay, when you're teaching clay, like you just really have to. The only way to like get better is to just keep doing it because there's such a huge learning curve because it's a brand new material and.
For sure. And as we know, and we talked this weekend, how many variables there are. Look how many clays there are.
Yeah.
How many like.
There's so many ways to mess it up too.
Finish it. How to like.
You go wrong in so many different parts. Oh, yeah. I always joke like, oh my god, I should have just stuck with painting.
Yeah.
So are all the students that are taking your classes, are they elective for those students?
Yeah, it's an elective.
Okay.
I think they have to have 2 fine arts credits, but they could take theater or they could take stagecraft in my school. They could like go help build theater stuff. Like
before they take my class, they need to take the the general art class. So if they're taking ceramics, it's because they like art. And
so are your kids a sophomore when they come to you?
Yeah, I don't have any freshmen. That's
kind of nice.
Ceramics.
That's how I am right now too.
Pretty nice.
Like my kids they take a semester of Art 1, and that's our foundation course, and then you can jump into all our other.
See, all of our classes are a year long, so they need to take an entire year of Art 1, and then they can take the other electives.
So it's like I don't get a freshman until second half of the year,
and I don't get a freshman at all.
And then none of my upper levels, like you're going to be a sophomore, junior, senior.
Yeah.
So my upper levels are all juniors and seniors.
Okay, I think in my high school we had 2D art, 3D art, and then if you did 3D art, then you that was the prerequisite for
The path, yeah.
Any sculpture. I think there was an intro to sculpture and then an intro to like clay or intro to ceramics.
So we have sculpture at my school and we have ceramics. I mean, we have a million things. We have so many. And we have jewelry. Like, those are all 3 separate 3D things you could go into and
I'm
take
the
all
only
the different
3D
levels.
at my school.
Yeah.
And then we just have like drawing, painting.
So you don't have
photo.
sculpture.
We have photo with like a real dark room and stuff though.
That's
No,
cool.
we don't have
Used
sculpture.
to it. We're all digital now.
Do the kids like that? We had that in my school,
they
and I
think,
wish I could have done
They
that.
think it's really cool.
I wished I could have.
Yeah, they like it. And we have AP 2D also. And we also we also have an advanced intro class, so you get recommended. You have to apply for that. So those are mostly freshmen.
Intro.
Yeah,
so they're coming in with experience.
They're coming
already.
in and they're like the kids who are like into art. They're talented. They want to pursue it.
But they don't want to like focus in any area. They want to.
Well, they have to take intro before they can take anything else.
But advanced intro.
The projects are elevated somehow. Or
Advanced intro is
or they can
in
go
place
faster?
of the regular intro, so they take that instead.
Oh.
Yeah,
Or
the
do they
pace
do
is
more
faster
projects?
and the projects are more
So it's
like,
not-
complex.
They don't have to take intro, then advanced intro.
No,
they just
correct.
take advanced intro.
They
in
just
place.
take
I
advanced
gotcha,
intro, yeah.
I gotcha. We have kids at our school that like parents will contact and try and be like, my kid's very talented and great at art. Can we just skip art 1 and go to the other classes? And we're like, we're really giving you a grounding of like what we do in a lot of things in art 1 at our school. And also like you're learning just how our rooms work, and you're learning like you're getting an experience with a teacher that you may never have again. Because we have 6 art teachers in my school. So it's like you might have Mr. Young as your art 1 teacher, and then I teach ceramics. Like you don't like ceramics. Maybe you like painting and you like drawing when you're in it. So you go all 2D like as you like go on, and it's like we have great teachers. Like spread it around. Like go meet these different people and learn from them. And
So do you all have group critiques in high school, or how do you engage with the students?
he's on the other side, but we do critiques pretty regularly in the sense of like, especially when we finish projects, obviously, like want to look at everybody's work. I try and keep it really positive. I even talk to them at the beginning, especially when it's like some of the first critiques and they're like nervous. I'll talk to them about like, this isn't for us to, be negative and like rip people apart. And like, I'm not here to look at your work and tell you everything you did wrong. Like, I usually start them out with like, what do you feel you did really well on your project? Like even look at your work. There's got to be something you like. Did you make it well? And maybe you hate the glazes. That's fine, but like, do you feel like you built it well? Like, do you feel like you did well with texture? Like, and then we talk about like, what do you think you could do better? Like, and our kids, like, I try and keep it short, even though some kids will just be like me and Chatty Cathy and just like stand up there and go in a soliloquy.
Are kids confident in showing the positives in their work, or are they pretty negative, or has it changed over time? Or
Some. It depends on the kid. I don't know. Like, I try and do a lot of different critiques too. Like some are written where they write, or maybe they go around and write about each other's, because some kids just write so well and they get that stage fright standing up and talking in front of people. So like doing something like that's better for them. Or giving like we do like love notes at our school almost, where like the kids write like nice things about someone's work that they really enjoy and love, and they give it to that student, or they randomly place it with it. And it's anonymous maybe sometimes, or maybe it's not. Like, but.
And then Meg, do you all have anything different?
Yeah, we do a group critique at the end of every quarter. So everyone puts their projects out with the other projects of that type, and we actually vote on them.
Yeah, we do a lot of voting too. Competition's good.
They
for
like
sure.
that.
Yeah, they do.
We do. When they submit their projects, they also do a digital portfolio, and they have to answer some reflection questions for each project. They don't like doing that, but I make it part of their grade, so they have to do it.
Reflection question. So it's like, what did you do well? What could you do better?
Like
maybe
where'd you get this idea from? What would you do differently? What is your favorite part of this project?
So how do you guys how do you house all that work? Like you finish your project and they're just on their shelves just chilling after it's done?
I keep them in storage and then bring them out. Yeah.
Holy cow. You have enough room for that?
It's a tight squeeze, but
I was going to say, we don't. We are like we have 6 full-time art teachers.
Yeah.
Like my room, I have those 2 free periods. I teach 6 classes. The 2 free periods, I'm not even going to be like in my room alone free. It's another teacher's coming in to teach more ceramics, because we have so many sections signed up. Like I'm teaching 12 sections of ceramics this year coming up, and there were 2 or 3 extra ones that I can't teach just physically can't by my contract or whatever, and this other teacher's going to teach them. And it's like, we have a lot of ceramics.
So then how many students is that?
A ton. So many.
Like 150?
I got about 150 a semester.
150 a semester.
And so that other teacher will have, if she's got 2 classes, she's going to have another 50. So that's like 200 ceramic kids going on at the same time.
Wow.
Plus there's also another lady over here teaching sculpture. Like, I mean, I think she's going to veer from clay. Now, when I taught sculpture, which I used to, I taught clay a lot in sculpture.
So do you all have enough room space? Because it sounds like if you're in the room pretty much the whole day, or she's in there during the free period.
She's in there during my free period. So when I have like plan time and I can load kilns or do whatever, we're very cool and we all love each other in my department. So it's one of those things where like I'll probably hang out in there half the time. Maybe I'll go load kilns, but I could be in
while they're teaching their class.
Yeah, she can teach. She'll walk around, do her thing. Like I could be at my desk grading, doing whatever. Like the only thing is like kids will come up to you and be like, "Hey, could you help me find this glaze?" And I'm like, this is not my class, but I'm very nice and I will always help them. And I'm like, but I'm like, nice. Son of a bitch. like I don't have anything else to do, you know. But yeah, I mean, and you always want to be helpful to kids because that kid, I just
don't know what's going on.
No, man, so and also like
that could be their refuge during the day.
Yeah, I had these 2 girls. They were getting ceramics. Their ceramics was taught by the other teacher in another room last year, and they'd come over and be like, "Can we be over here when it's your class?" I'm like, "Yeah, you guys are good." Then I was talking to them and showing them stuff, and they're like, "You're so nice, thank you." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, like, why wouldn't I be? Like, I'm hoping you take my class more and I keep my job and hopefully you make some cool shit and like, let's keep going." But,
and then Meg, how does that? How many students do you have?
I have about 125 ceramic students, and my school is a year-long class, so I have the same kids all year. I teach 5 sections of ceramics, 4 sections of ceramics 1, and then 1 section of advanced ceramics. The kids can take advanced ceramics a couple times. So I'm the only one who uses my room, so there's no other teachers that use
so you
my
go
room.
From 1 to advanced, and advanced is like, you just advance.
It's like ceramics 2, ceramics 1, 2, and then I guess you could take 3. I have a couple kids that do it 2 years in a row. So they could get 3 whole years of ceramics in.
So do you have some students that hand build and some that will throw in those like advanced level class?
Yeah.
Or do you have to manage 2 groups of students? So I've got everyone's got 1 wheel project a quarter, and then they get on the wheel 1 day a week. So they've got a wheel day. They lose points if they skip their wheel day, and at the end of the quarter they have to turn in their wheel project.
So how much do they get to throw in I don't know, how long does your wheel project go?
1 a quarter, so 1 every 9 weeks.
So there's 1 wheel project a quarter, and they're getting 9 throwing days then.
Well, not
but
quite.
They'll come in more and
you
stuff.
gotta like trim and you gotta dry, so they're not gonna. Yeah, I mean they get 9 throwing days. Yeah.
9 wet work throwing days.
Yeah.
Okay. See, my kids will throw for. I better give them 6 to 7 weeks. Like they are on there. Like I like wanted to submerge them when I. Yeah. This was my first year of having kids throw last year.
We only have 7 wheels though, so.
Yeah, I've only got 10. So I try and split my classes, but it's still tough when they give you 24 and now there's 12 and 12.
So then how do you do grading then?
What do you mean?
Well, is it 1 quarter they have a wheel project or like?
So I was doing ceramics 2 throws, and advanced will throw this next year, and the upper levels even more. But ceramics 2 throws, so half the kids are doing a hand building project, half the kids are throwing, and there's a couple of them that can't throw, so they chill those days, or they trim, or they maybe glaze some stuff, or they do whatever. But like I'm having the wheel just rotate. I mean, I'm trying to have them create 2 things that are similar, that match at some point. And I'm trying to give them, like, other challenges of, like, you should try and shoot for 6 inches tall.
Yeah.
You should try and...
I will have height requirements for all
with
of my
intention,
projects.
make a couple to handle. Like, try and do a handle. Like, I show them all these different things. I show them how to trim.
So for ceramics 1, first quarter, they just have to make a cylinder. And I think it's like 4 inches tall. It has to have a trimmed foot ring. And then second quarter, it's a set of cups. And you get like higher points if they have handles. And they're supposed to be
so ceramics 1, your kids are throwing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't throw with ceramics 1.
Okay.
It's too overwhelming. There's too many classes.
Okay.
Like, it would be chaos.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I mean, it is.
And I have some of those, those boys in there, and it's like, I don't think you can handle the wheel. Maybe it would calm you, but I don't want to take that chance.
When I was in school, we had the intro class, there was also a group of like 6 advanced students that would use the wheels. So like the intro was all hand building.
Yeah.
And the teacher would kind of like do their intro demo and all that for the hand building, and then the wheel students were kind of getting going, and they were self-managed. They could do their own thing, and then he came over and like helped them out with their own thing. So it was kind of like a split class.
Yeah.
But it's all the same room because there was about, I think, 5 or 6 wheels maybe.
Okay.
So that's kind of the max he could do. So there wasn't like a dedicated wheel class.
I know. I
It's
thought
like
about
every
something
class
where.
had to have
Yeah,
a
we
few
didn't have a
wheel
dedicated
students.
wheel class either. It was just, it's the same way I do it. Ceramics 1 and Ceramics 2.
I know, and I feel like I love how my kids got submerged in throw for 6 to 7 weeks or whatever, and then they had to finish stuff for a couple weeks, and then they flip-flopped and did this hand building project, which is a good project that I do. But it's like, I kind of want to cut it. I don't know if I want to do 3 projects and try and rotate it a little quicker, but I also know that some kids got almost bored throwing, like they weren't good at it, and they were like, I'm done with this almost. So I need to have like an alternative too for some of those kids in the sense of like, but I don't want them to quit early. That's where I don't want to give them the alternative. I want to force them into like trying.
I always tell them it's the skill that anyone can learn. It's like riding a bike. There's a set way to do it, and
For
then
sure.
you can kind of modify it. But like anyone can do this.
You got to practice.
You just have to, you
A
just
lot.
have to practice. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, they all get. I think they think it looks pretty easy, like when I do my
Oh,
demos
yeah.
and stuff. And then they get
Oh,
on the
yeah.
wheel for the first time, and they're like, "Oh, this is awful."
Oh yeah. I throw a decent cup when I sit
Yeah.
down and talk with them, and I just want to demo and show them how
Yep.
it works and go through stuff. And
Do you preface that demo with, by the way, this is going to look very easy?
I
because
do.
I've been doing
Yeah,
this
but
for
they
a
don't
long
believe.
time."
They don't believe.
they don't
you.
believe you. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you did? Yeah, it was easy. Duh.
They always
we'll
tell
we'll
me
do
like,
this."
"You made it look so easy," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I've been doing this for longer than you've been alive."
Yeah. Yeah. What year were you born?
Yeah, no, for
Exactly.
real.
I mean, it is that. It's like it's second nature. We can throw with
Yeah.
our eyes closed, and they're like, "How do I turn the wheel on?" Like, like
Right.
just.
So how long are the class periods? Because I had like 50 minutes when I was in school.
Yeah, ours are like 50 minutes.
Mine's 45.
And it's tough.
See, that's the other thing I talked with you about this,
Yeah,
about not
so-
cleaning. I don't really clean as much.
Yeah.
The other teacher that used to teach ceramics comes in and looks at me and is like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm gonna do a little more this year. I got to
You're
get
talking
better.
about the wheels mostly.
Oh,
It's
the-
the part that you.
I haven't cleaned the wheel head and cleaned that, but I'm like the splash pan and like some of this. Like I'm like, wipe it up decent. I don't care. We're not.
You know what? It's all the same clay that everybody.
Yeah, and I don't clean it down every day. Like she was having to wipe it down every day, and I'm like, man, they spend so much time on that. They're losing like
It's like 10 minutes. We had 10
Yeah.
minute warning.
Yeah.
it's like throwing time, like
50
gone.
minutes,
No, they really are
40
losing a lot of
minutes.
time.
So in my
I
head,
think I
I'm-
might adopt that.
In my head, I'm like, okay, I don't need to go to the extreme of what I've been doing. Of like, okay, once every month we clean. Like, let's do
Yeah.
like at the end of the week. You could have one different period clean.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And they just do it for
actually.
the other people, and like, yeah, whatever.
So do you all have you all mentioned teaching assistants. Do you all have students that would help with doing stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Clean all of that.
Yeah, I hate to make them clean up for the wheel kids, but I'll have them like do other things
Yeah.
like maybe wedge clay or
My kids like pug the clay. They fill the underglazes. They make slip. Help reclaim.
what do you do with underglaze? Do you like put them in smaller
I
containers?
put them in like a ketchup squeeze bottle almost.
Do you really?
Yeah, it works really well.
And then they do what? Like squirt them into a paint tray?
Yeah, so they have to bring in a lidded container. I used paint trays my first year, which was a terrible mistake because no one ever cleaned them. So
Yeah.
now they have to bring in their own
They're
lidded
annoying.
container, and they use their own lid as a paint tray. So honestly, like they waste a lot less because they don't want to clean it. And
I
they'll
just have my
keep
kids dip
using
straight
it.
out of bottles. I just worry about
Yeah.
them knocking them over is my only thing. And I do have a couple spills a semester almost. I just stress don't spill Radiant Red.
Right.
Don't spill. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the $60 bottles
Yeah.
now. Like,
Right.
for the love of God, if you drop one of the $20 lugs.
For the overglazes, I have them do it straight out of the bottle, but they like to mix the underglaze colors.
They screw them up, is what you're saying? Or
Well,
you
no,
mean
they like to mix them.
on the pallets.
So,
I got you.
Yeah, they like to make their own colors.
So
I mean-
are they doing a lot of brushing glazes and?
That's all we do,
glazes
our
and-
brushing.
Yeah, same. I don't have any dip. I mean, I think I have a.
I have a clear that
I think
you
I have a
can
clear
dip,
dip too. Yeah. But I don't even particularly like it because I've tested a few things, and I don't know if I just need to thin it or what I need to do.
So
Yeah.
is that pretty efficient for? Do you all like stockpile work and then they glaze? Well, I guess you're doing project, so they have to glaze throughout. the whole semester.
That's
It's
my
not
dilemma.
Like,
That's my
batching
dilemma.
It all and then
I
closing
usually
all.
hoard their projects, so I'll bisque them and I'll hoard them, and then we start the second project, and then towards the end of the quarter when they need to finish
or when it's
stuff,
drying, then you're like
Yeah.
glaze the other one while that's drying. And
yeah,
then,
because they get really excited and they want to glaze it right away, but that's not the best use of time, because I always say, like, your first priority is always wet work because it's got to dry.
Yeah.
So your first priority is making it and getting it dry, and then after it's bisqued, then
I
you
remember
can
those
glaze.
semesters you had like last wet clay days.
Yeah,
this
no, we
day.
do that,
I
and
do
they
that too.
push it. They push it.
Yeah. I always love the kid that'll still like it's like 2 days after they get a ball clean. I'm like, what are you doing?
And you don't want any kid to fail, but you
Yeah.
also, like, you have to meet deadlines.
Yeah, it ended. Yeah, we've gotten bad at that. I think that in post-COVID's been so much worse of like
I'm too nice
of,
with
ki-
it.
of,
Like,
kid, of kids
okay.
like just lackadaisical. Like it doesn't work this way in
Yeah.
clay. Like clay needs to be done at certain stages and it needs to
Yep.
dry, and it's all time. Like
I have
you
like a
can't just-
timeline that I made hanging up, you know, like this is what you can do at this stage, this is what you can do at this stage,
Yeah,
and it's got
that's
to
good.
dry for this many days, and this is how long it's in the bisque kiln for.
Yeah, I always love when they like put their project back there. Like, so can we get this like
Yeah.
like 12th period today? Can we come in and like can we?
Oh, they love to complain. Where's
Yeah.
my project? I put it on the ready to fire shelf a week ago. I'm like, you and 100 other people did.
So when I
Like,
talked about the process and how long this was,
Yeah.
you didn't listen to that part, right?
No.
I love kids.
Well, they're so used to instant gratification, they
Yes,
don't
yes.
understand. That's what I'm like, please ask me when I'm going to fire a project. I love it when all 125 of you ask me, where's my project? When are you going to fire my project? Every single day, please. That's one of my
Oh, and it's
favorite
always
things.
the late
Yes.
the kid that's put it back there late.
Yes.
So they make me giggle the most. I'm like,
Yes.
so you see how everyone turned theirs in on time, and then I fired all theirs, and now yours is the only one in the case. So
Yes.
like, do you see how big this kiln is? This thing costs a lot of money running, a lot of energy, and I'm not going to fire for yours because
Yes,
you're late.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Did they say that they just wanted to put the most detail and make sure
Oh,
everything was covered?
they'll
and
be like,
accounted
"Well,"
for before they finished it? So
they'll
that-
make up something.
Oh, yeah, they're really good at making excuses.
Yeah. I'll be like, so yeah, when you left for the bathroom every day for 20 minutes of the
Right.
40-minute period, you don't think that like affected the timing at all?
I always tell them, like, you got an A+ in TikTok this quarter, but ooh, ceramics, I don't know.
So Becca talked about this kid that had a high school project that he had to finish, and he called her up and like brought it to her studio to get fired because he couldn't get it finished. The teacher wouldn't fire it, and he took it in his backpack, like wet clay.
Yeah, that
And
sounds like
she
a high
was-
school
Like,
kid.
do you all have any stories of students or anything like that is like, it just doesn't make sense? Like, okay, this is just not right.
I'm trying to think, like,
Hey everybody. We took a little break from the discussion because we either forgot to put the ad in or we just didn't want to break the conversation up and, you know, get away from whatever was going on to talk about L&L in the moment. So we're putting it in here. Today I'm talking about the zone control from L&L kilns. So what that means is most kilns have a single zone where you only have one thermocouple, and that thermocouple is reading for the entire kiln. It's doing its best to fire consistently, but it may not fire the exact same temperature from top to bottom because it's only got one reading in that kiln with that one thermocouple. Most L&Ls are going to have multiple thermocouples depending on the amount of space you have in it. So for instance, I have an E23T and it has 3 thermocouples. So what I can expect is as the kiln is firing, it is going to adjust the temperature in those different zones based on where those thermocouples are, top, middle, bottom. And if it sees that a section is lagging behind, it's a little cooler, it needs to catch up, it's going to adjust on the fly. It's going to do that on its own, and it's going to produce more consistent results from top to bottom in that kiln because of those various thermocouples as well as the controller that's going to adjust on the fly. So that's the benefit of the zone control. I have another kiln. It's got a single thermocouple, and I might have results where I've seen results where the top might be at cone 5 and the bottom might be at cone 6 and the middle might be at cone 6. You know, that thermocouple is going to be typically right in the middle. It is an equivalent size kiln to my bigger one. It's like a 7 cubic foot, and I think my bigger one is 7 or 10, something like that. And I'm going to see that there's a little bit of variability in that kiln that has a single thermocouple. So if you're interested and you're looking for another reason to buy an L&L kiln, zone control is one of those reasons that you can consider. to get more consistent firings. And thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much, L&L. And if you'd like to find that and get yourself an L&L kiln or scout out what options they have available, you can see that all at hotkilns.com. Hotkilns.com. All right, let's get back to the discussion, and thanks so much.
I try to remember if they've done anything like super crazy where I'm like, oh my gosh, do not do that. They always ask if they could fire weird stuff, like, and I'm like, that no, like rocks or something.
Could we like cook a pizza in there?
Yeah, we're not doing that.
I think they're so fun.
Yeah.
I had a kid the 1 year asked if he could cook a turkey, like legit. I'm like, yeah, man, we cook a turkey in here. We even do like Thanksgiving in the art room. Like, what do we?
Like aluminum foil it, just cover it up.
Get some stuff. We'll do a shelf and put stuffing on top. Yeah, cool, man. Kids are so funny.
They are really funny. They make some of the weirdest stuff too, and it makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
I had one girl last year. These were my favorite things. She made these little food animals. So it was like a hot dog, but it was like a wiener dog, or there was like a golden retriever ice cream cone, and they were tiny, but they were like...
Sounds like Ashley Bevington.
They were so weird. I loved them so much.
You know she's in Ohio?
Yeah.
Ashley Bevington?
Yep.
Do you know who, I don't know if it's her, partner, fiance, husband, like Royce Hildebrand. Do you know him?
Oh, no, I did not know that.
And he works at the kiln room, which is where like...
Yeah,
I mean, in Columbus, like, just
Nice.
crazy connections.
Yeah.
I like sort of put all that together. I'm like, what?
yeah,
Like silly.
nice.
So with you all teaching so much, I mean, right now you're in the summer, so how do you all make time for your own work?
Well, I have 3 kids, and I have a basement studio, so it's not my preference, but I've trained myself to work, in 20, 30, even like 5-minute increments. Because it's so convenient, like I can sneak downstairs, I can check on things, I really like to have a good solid chunk of time to throw. But like the decorating work, like I can stop. I can get it.
You can do a little bit.
Yeah. So you just have to be really creative with time, and like my kids are in the studio with me a lot, or even like they were swimming at the neighbor's house, and I was like, I carved while they're swimming, or I sand while they're swimming. Like you just have to be creative.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I have a home studio as well. A couple kids myself. I have 2 little girls. I prioritize my personal work. I don't watch TV anymore, hardly ever. It's like
Not even in this. You don't have one in the studio.
no, I don't have one in the studio. I probably should get one down there because I could probably watch something here and there. And there's like, I feel like I'm left out in conversations with friends sometimes because they're just like talking about some like popular whatever Netflix show or this or that, and I'm like, yep, I don't watch anything. But like say we have dinner at my house. I usually do up all the dishes, clean up the sink, clean up the kitchen, and then my wife will take kids up to go make sure they get in the bath because they will dilly-dally and avoid the tub. And she's up there doing that, and I like just sneak down to the basement. I'll work for like 45 minutes, even like Megan, very similar. Like,
Yeah.
I can work in like, do a small task of what I do. Like maybe I do like a little bit of underglaze work. Maybe I pour some molds and I slip cast some items and get those going, and like then I pour them out and then go up and help with bedtime or whatever. Like, and then my mother-in-law and father-in-law live about an hour and a half away. So my wife will be like, yeah, I'm going to go see my dad like Saturday. Do you want to go? And I say, absolutely not. And I go to my basement and work for 6 hours that day. So like, I will try and dip out on some things here and there if I can to like buy myself some time.
And the summer's great, 'cause
Summer's
I'm home
awesome.
And I do things with my kids in the morning. Like they have like rec programs that they do. And we're usually home by noon, and then the rest of the day I'll like make them lunch, and they're like, well, what are we gonna do now? And I'm like, well, I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't care what you guys do. And they're old enough, like my youngest is 5, so they're at the age where they can entertain themselves and they don't need like constant supervision.
Yeah. I will say I sacrifice sleep a lot. Like I will even during the school year. I gotta wake up at 5 a.m. I don't really need to. I could probably sleep in another half hour, but I wake up at 5 a.m. and I get up at 5, and sometimes I'll stay up till almost 1 in the morning and then get up at 5 and go to school. But I just feel so good that I like accomplished 3-4 hours worth of work because I went down there at like 9 o'clock at night and worked till 1 a.m. and I'm like, it was worth it. But then I usually pay for it the next night.
I always tell myself like anything I do tonight I don't have to do tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm always trying to get ahead too.
Yeah, you just gotta like push through it, especially if you have deadlines and stuff.
I suck it up sometimes and just I cut sleep or
yeah
Yeah, I mean.
But like my studio time is like my time. Like I enjoy it. Like I want, like the minute I walk into my studio, like I'm just like, like this is good. Like I want to be here.
I feel
want
like
to be doing
we
this.
recharge from going down there.
For
like
sure,
you regain your sanity from being a parent and a teacher. And
like I look forward to like every second I can spend down there.
And like I mentioned earlier, I love like answering questions for my kids because again, I feel like I'm the expert and like I can help them and I can make them better.
You would feel like the expert.
But I also feel like, shut up, man. But I feel like I go down to my basement and no one's going to ask me anything, and my cat might come down and I pet my cat every once in a while and I have a beer and like I'm just chilling. Like I listen to music. And
see, I'll listen to music. Sometimes I like it totally quiet. I like to watch documentaries, so I'll watch anything really that's a documentary on.
You would like documentaries.
I love documentaries. I love Crafted America on PBS. I'll watch that too.
Yeah, you were telling me about some Netflix ones
I
you were watching
love
recently.
documentaries.
Apparently, I got to watch the one with the Malaysian flight.
That one's pretty crazy.
I need to see that.
That MH370 or whatever.
Did you watch the pharmacist one I was talking about?
No, that one I'm gonna watch
because it's so similar to the other one you guys.
Stick.
Yes,
yeah.
It is like it sounds like it's like hand in hand.
Because like I don't want, the only time I watch TV is if I'm running on the treadmill or if I'm in my studio. Like I'm not a big TV person. I like to read a lot, but TV I just have a hard time focusing on it.
Reading takes a lot of time too.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not like, the time. Like it's not even a flex because it's not like I'm reading like smart books. I just like fiction. I really have a hard time focusing on TV.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was telling Ryan, like, even when I run, like, well, even when I run, like, I always have the subtitles on because I need to be reading something or I get really bored.
Yeah, running sucks anyways.
Well, I don't mind running, but
I know,
but I get bored just watching something. So that's why I can watch it if I'm working in my studio because I'm doing something else, but I can't just sit and watch TV.
You can't just run with a book in your hand and like.
I think that'd be pretty tricky, but I'm willing to try it.
She like makes a helmet so it like hangs down.
I have, this is awful, but I have like actually propped a book on my steering wheel and read while I've driven. I have not done that in a long time.
Okay, she does
but
not
I
have a book
have
with
done
her.
it
Yeah,
before.
Megan has no book.
No
She is
book.
driving.
There's no book.
It's scary without a book. It's scary without a book. I don't know what would be going on.
I'm driving Ryan's conversion van. It's a little bit. It's not really in my comfort zone, but I'm doing it. Ryan said I was better than Tony at driving it.
No, we do know the brakes work when Megan is driving. They work hard. I've been jostled.
Just trying to help your back, dude.
Yeah.
Like basically like a chiropractor. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for braking so hard, Megan. God, look at all the cows. It's so insane.
Many cows. So many fields. Just lots of fields.
Yes, lots of flat.
I wonder if that's that one that Brian Wilkerson went out and got the tick from behind his ear.
So do your all's like spouses and kids understand the you time in the studio?
Oh
versus...
yeah, my husband's super supportive. He's not an art person. He's in IT, but he really he knows that I value that time, so he wants me to have it. And he's very like, he likes to make stuff for my studio. Like he made me like a table for my pug mill. He actually made the studio for me. Like our basement was not finished when we moved in, so he made me like the room for the studio. He's really supportive. Like, you know, when I told him I'm going to Kansas, like he's like, yeah, great, let's.
I think I should have married Andy.
You should have. Andy's pretty great.
Andy could have built stuff for me, and he would have supported me.
Sarah's prettier than Andy, though.
She's very, very much prettier than me.
I don't know what she's doing with you, honestly. Like, someday I worried, like, Sarah's going to be like, what? And they're like, I look like a model, man. Like,
I know, and I keep getting uglier. It's not good. I'm losing that battle for sure.
But you're such a good listener.
But I will say... Shut up. I will say with my wife, like, there is a little bit of that battle. She's like, are you going to the basement again? And I'm like trying to sneak down the steps. She's like doing something, but I'm like,
get up here and help me with these kids,
like,
Tony.
I'm like, if you want to go do this, do that. No, I don't want to go do that. I'm like, well, then.
For the record, that is not at all what Sarah's voice sounds like.
No, it'd be more like, no, I don't want to do that.
I don't know which one she'd rather hear.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, she's very supportive, but also like, it's like, you gotta do this or do that, or like, and she like wants to, I don't know what I want to say, like, she kind of wants old Tony that was like all about gung-ho projects at her house, and like, redoing things and whatever. Because like when it was DIY time for like years in our house, and I'm over it, man. I'm like almost done doing shit in our house.
Your DIY days.
Yeah, my DIY days are.
Pay somebody else to do it, maybe.
Especially if it's anything that's going to stress me out too, where I'm going to like curse up a storm, and it's like if it's like gonna put something together from IKEA too, like I'm like fuck no, like I just can't do this shit anymore. But I want to hire things done almost, because I'd rather put my time into my pottery. It's like time is money. I'm gonna either make money doing this or spend money doing. I'm like, I'd rather do this and make that guy do it who's gonna do it better than me. But I don't know. We have our moments. I try and be aware that I'm like taking advantage too much or not.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I always say like
too,
I want to
so
be a
it's-
dad when I grow up.
You wanna be a-
I want to be a dad when I grow up. Yeah.
So you got to get some of those skills that Andy's got with.
Well,
him.
to be fair, Andy has a lot of Andy time too. So we have a good, like, we're both pretty independent people. We have like separate interests, but we also have common interests, so it works out well. But he's very supportive if I tell him I want to do something like this. Like when I go to Ensika, or I'm going to be part of the Michiana Pottery Tour in a month. Like he's like, yeah, that's awesome, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think for like Rachel and I don't have any kids, but the whole, hey, I have a full-time job and the pottery. So to her,
Supporting each
it's the time together of we're both independent. So like she's pretty introverted and she'll read and do her own thing, but we could be independent in the house together. And I'm in the studio versus, she's doing her own thing upstairs, and it's just making sure that we have time together to do things, and also prioritize, the house projects and things like that. To not, pottery's always the priority, and weekends are always going to be taken up with shows and all that kind of thing.
Because it can go that route real easy.
It can,
Like,
yeah.
it's
'Cause
like-
I'm ambitious and I want to do all this stuff, and I'm like, even if you don't have to go to it, it is on the calendar, and like she can't expect me to help with other things because that's my focus for that weekend.
Yeah, it's tough. Those become like tough
Yeah,
things.
and especially with our kids getting older, they're involved in activities, so we have kids sports every weekend.
Yeah.
And so that takes up time. So you want to make sure, you have time for your family too. It's a hard balance.
That's why I can't watch TV.
Yeah.
It's just like there's so much shit going on.
Yeah. And I definitely have like seasons where like I don't, like right now, like it's been like production like crazy because I'm trying to get stuff ready for Michiana, and then I've got a couple like holiday shows I'm doing, and then in Sika we're gonna do our pop-up again, so it's like
I mean,
boom,
literally,
boom, boom.
the holidays are around the corner. Like, it's crazy.
I know. I
It's
feel like
3
it
months
just
out.
turned 2023 and we're like
Over.
like
It's over.
in August. So
I know.
yeah.
I know. I feel that so much. And like I just said, like how soon Christmas is, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Because that's when you hammer sales. Like, everyone's looking for gifts, and it's not like I want to make stuff just to sell, but I just know that it's prime time. Like,
Yeah.
And I have so many ideas that I want to work through, but it's like just trying to slow down and like, give yourself time to work through ideas while you're still producing work. It's a
good
tough
work.
balance.
Yeah.
Do you all struggle with trying to expand? Like, do you feel like it's tough to progress and do new things with your work because your time is so finite with, the school teaching and then also family and all of that? Because I feel like I just get zoned into like, I'm going to do the things that I know
Knock
are
these
gonna
out.
work
Yeah, because
versus
you've got
experimenting.
deadlines, right?
Yeah.
So after we had our pop-up at Ensika, and after that, like I bought an iPad and an Apple Pencil and Procreate with my proceeds, and so I've been really like trying to push myself further with some of my drawings, like using that, and so that's been helpful, but it's also like dedicating time to that I could be like in the studio, and like I want to be in the studio. I like getting new ideas, and I like that energy, but it's just like you feel this pressure, like, oh shoot, I'm not making anything, I gotta make. Like,
Yeah. I don't have time to dabble and like find new a little bit.
I mean, at least for both of y'all, do you feel like your pots are just the canvas anyways, and those are going to be consistent?
Somewhat, yeah.
You're not making new forms.
No.
Not a ton. I will say this, like I've started experimenting, like I collaborate with a lot of artists, and for me lately I've been like pursuing artists that are not going to just send me a cup or a mug. And if they are, it's like Angel Crespo. It's like at Redivider on Instagram. I mean, he's just a rad sculptor, very like special effects, like some of these like alien sculpted, bone inspired, almost like Geiger type inspired cups, and those were rad. But like, I want to do more sculptural stuff and put my finishes on that. As far as like, I like when I teach. I don't know if you feel this way, but like when I teach, I feel like I have more time to explore those things because like the kids start working and doing things, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit down at the wheel and knock out 15 cups here in school. I don't throw at school or do much hardly at all.
I don't throw at school ever.
So like, I might make a mold at school. Like I'll do like my mold making and like do that. Like yeah, like in between, like if I have my off period, I'm gonna form up a mold with some like scrap clay that we're probably almost gonna pitch or whatever anyways. And I'm like, shit, yeah, I'm gonna make a mold. I'm gonna like, maybe I'll get like some screens ready to like send off to Mako to like get some new screens made. Like I'll do those things that like, I feel like at home I can't sit down and like waste that time to do those things at home.
Right.
I literally brought home stuff to make a master mold of my duck mold for the summer, and it sat in my basement all year and I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to make a master mold so I can pour plaster and make molds.
Yeah, that mold making process I feel like would just open up, like that's not a quick 2-hour thing.
No, but once you got it, but also like they expire after a while. It's not like you have a mold for life.
Right.
Like they die.
It's got a shelf life.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where like I want to get into making some masters and doing that, but I'm like, I watched Van Tiki like do a demo after I was really thinking about this hardcore, and then he literally posted a video right after I had all this going on in my head, and then I was like, this is exactly what I need, and he's just a master at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use school time for that. Like that's why I'm excited to go back to school. Like I love my kids, I love teaching, but there's also these little like moments where I get time to like, I feel like I can do something that I wouldn't do at home. I wouldn't spend my time doing that while at home.
So are you also, like, where are you sourcing all the different graphics that you're getting? Are those drawings that you're coming up? I mean, you were talking about drawing earlier, but are you not?
A lot of stuff. I mean, I use those underglaze transfers. I use all that, but like for my main imagery, some of my like all my skull stuff and all that, like I was like pulling from my line. You got to find like copyright duty-free imagery. So I was doing that, but I was also like putting stuff in Photoshop and then changing it, adding, morphing, making it my own, whatever. And then recently though, like I've talked to people, I've been doing I've been using Mid-Journey, which is AI, and I've been like creating imagery in there by just like literally typing in kind of my vision, and it produces an image, and if I like it, maybe I do like variations of it. Maybe like there's ways to do variations, there's ways to upscale. I could change some words and it'll give me a different variation of what I just did. So I've been creating imagery through that, and like then getting my screens made from Mako from that imagery. Like I'll put it in Photoshop, flip it to black and white if it wasn't black and white. Yeah, I mean, that's been kind of exciting too. For me, it's like I tell people it's like hyper sketching. Because I don't sketch a lot, and I don't sketch well, I feel.
So we did the collab day in the studio.
Yeah.
During the wood fire process, how was because you were experimenting on some different forms and different people's work that you hadn't done before. How was that process?
So like on the pumpkins?
Yeah.
I was a little worried when I went to like lay down my screens, because it's like they're really undulating with like, you know, how he creates those creases. They screened really easy. Like that can,
it's a very convex surface. That
can give me fits. Like sometimes if people like send me stuff with too much texture and nowhere to do my work, I'm like, well, this is gonna be a challenge. like I'll figure something out. Otherwise, I enjoy like problem solving. But the pumpkins were easy, man, and I'm pretty stoked to like see what they end up looking like.
And you apparently have to take them home with you.
Yeah, I had to take them home because Isaac Shue, the ogre, wouldn't fire him at his place, even though he has 19 kilns and an assistant, and I mean Potter Paws and all these things. Isaac.
Had you all done a workshop where you had like an open studio day to like collab and stuff?
I have not.
To collab, that might happen organically, and it wasn't like really set up. I've done a workshop where like I've went, like Calvin Ma's been there, Kyle and Kelly Phelps. They do this workshop at Otterbein University in Ohio. And so Jim Bulling's an amazing professor there. He brings in an artist. They usually teach for a week, and you do maybe some type of project. I mean, they give you like a premise of how they work, and then you make whatever you want based off that. And you can kind of go rogue, which I do a lot, but like you do their thing for a week, and then usually the artist leaves. Sometimes they stay for the second week, but it's a 2-week deal, and the second week is just like totally free time. I mean, And it's just great. Like, it's amazing just being in a room. It was very similar to what we just experienced. Like, all like-minded clay people, like, just making. Like, there'll be people doing sculpture. Some of us go to the wheel. Like, all these people are doing all different things. So,
yeah. Meg, how did you like it? Because we did a lot of different experimenting and.
Oh yeah, that
cool
was
stuff.
so fun. Like, just getting to see everybody else work and then like switching cups with people, and I don't know, that was great. Like, I wish we could have had like more days of that. It was worth it.
I love seeing your work on that dark clay. And
yeah, it was cool.
It was so cool seeing you guys do some things.
Yeah,
You guys did a lot back and forth, right?
Yeah, so
quite a bit.
like Ryan and I
So
did. Yeah.
Meg threw a number of cups, and I was like, I got this speckle clay. Why don't you throw some with this just to see what it looks like? Because you got a lot of the porcelain with your clouds and your added. I don't know, what do you call that? Where you add it and you peel it? Is that
like a paper stencil?
a paper stencil? Okay. So a lot of stencil work, and then it's like, okay, that's really going to show up nice. I mean, as long as the shrinkage rate's comparable, but we'll see how that works.
We'll see.
out.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay. I've put so many different things together, and I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever.
So I'm like, what would that look like on that clay? And so you did a few of those, some mugs, and then I threw some mugs and speckle clay mostly.
And then we each handled like, I put a handle on one of Ryan's mugs and he put a handle on one of my mugs.
Yeah, and then we did some. I tried the stencil work. That shit is not easy. I mean,
Yeah.
it obviously it's one of those things where it looks easy, and like obviously you had the slip and everything. If I had to make my own slip and get it from that consistency, I'm sure there's some.
Oh no, that's actually, like, I just scoop it out of my reclaim and I hit it with an immersion blender. Like,
Oh,
it's
good
so
to go.
easy. Yeah. Sometimes I adjust like the water content, but it's really easy
Yeah.
to make that slip.
Okay. And so I tried that. She had some extra stencils to lend, so that was fun. And then I think I gave Potter Paul's a mug.
Yeah, I did too.
To try.
I gave Brian a cup to carve on.
Andrea. Yeah, Brian. I was like, Brian's not gonna sculpt all this stuff, because seeing how slowly he works meticulously through the sculpting process. But then you're like, oh, he just carved my cup. Let's give him a cup to carve. So he did that on an oil bottle.
You do a face on an oil bottle?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't even see it.
It's one of the like.
Is it back there?
It's in my damn box.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You got it. Cool.
So Tony, you do a lot of collabing. Meg, do you do a lot of collabing and like?
I don't do any collabing. Okay. I would be open to it. It's just not like, it's not something that I pursue.
Yeah.
So Tony, are you like nervous about the? Well, do you ever get nervous about the finishing process, the glazing process, or is it pretty easy and straightforward because you clear most things?
Yeah, and I don't even clear everything. I leave some my underglaze outside raw. No, I mean I don't think there's anything that I haven't had success with, in the sense of like someone sent me something. I just had a cup from Eric Van Eyren, which, man, the cup was awesome, and I don't know what it was, but something like pinholed in the handle, it was just nasty. So I refired a couple times. Then the refiring to mid-range a couple times screwed up something with my underglaze, blistered on the white, so then the cup was just lost. That was like, I've only had maybe a couple cups that have just been like screwed, but
yeah, because I'm like, I don't know how to finish the glazing on these things, because normally I would just dip my glazes. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna cover up and just roll out this.
Yeah, and it's got to be like special too. Like I always find with a collab, like I got to find a way to like let each of us kind of shine through,
spice it up a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, definitely I'm gonna put my touch on it. But like, what did they do that I want to leave, or what's special about their work? Like, some people it's just the form, and I just do my thing all over it. But like, some people do carved stuff on the bottom half, and I like really just trying to accent that. I try and do it in a different way than what they do. Like whatever they do, I'm typically thinking the opposite.
Yeah. Did you ever do any of the wall mugs of Isaac's before?
We collaborated, but it was before he did those. We collabed when he was doing his line work.
Oh, okay.
So he sent me some kind of half-ish finished.
Yeah.
And I sent him something similar, and he did like line work into mine, which they were pretty rad. I really enjoyed like just some random kind of like colorful line work here and there.
Yeah, that's like, there's so many layers to that.
Yeah.
So Meg, you didn't give Tony any of your cups, did you?
No, because I just had greenware, and Tony does most of his decoration.
I mean, I could have, but I've done it before on green.
Yeah, it would be fun to like do a collab where I do like some clouds and then send you the bisque and then you decorate around it.
We have talked about collab too. We have to.
Tony just always has so much going on.
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know if it's like we were so in close proximity.
Yeah.
And actually see each other every once in a while / whatever. Like we just kind of like, it'll happen.
The opportunity's always there, and then
and then we don't. Yeah, it's funny. I think I have a list of probably 30 people I've got committed to like collabing.
Yeah.
But it's so many of them, like, it was just around Christmas time, I had no collabs on deck. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to send out a friendly reminder to a bunch of people. And all of a sudden, like 6 collabs come in within like a month and a half, and I've got them all sent on my shelf. And then I'm like, damn it. Now I've got so many sitting here, I feel bad people are going to have their work chilling here for like 6-7 months.
Some of that, they probably forget about it.
You pretty much do. I mean, literally, Claire McCauley just finished one of my cups, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know you had that." Like, it was 2 years ago I sent that to you. Like, I forgot. Like, it was like, whatever though, it's fine.
Yeah, I got a bunch from Heidi Fehrenbacher at Insika. She brought a damp box with a bunch of work for me to carve, and I've still got probably half a damp box full of stuff that I need to finish.
Is that Bella?
Bella Joy,
yeah.
She does a lot of slip casting, so
Is she slip casting?
Yeah, she slip casts. That's like her bread and butter work, I think. And then she's probably more known for her other transfers and, glazing work that's actually like hand thrown and stuff. So how do you go about selling those pieces? Are you usually the one finishing them and selling them?
Finish them, sell them. I've got some people that even like if the other person, typically I'm the one that I do the work, like the finish work. But if it's like another person who does finish work, we'll actually swap. Like I've got some.
Thinking about doing everything on Bisqueware, they can send you Bisqueware.
Yeah, and I always kind of want that. But I've got some like other illustrative artists at like what is it, Bat Ceramics? I'm trying to remember her name.
Bat Ceramics?
Yeah. What's her name again?
Brooke,
yeah.
Brooke Thyridge.
Yeah, and we've just been speaking. I think she just had an injury and she's about recovered. She paints ridiculously.
Yeah, she does.
Amazing, like illustrative animals and stuff. And I was like, I want to see these in some of those like white areas. Like I'll prep it all the way up to where I give her like a canvas. I mean, are my cups anything special? I mean, forms are okay. Like whatever. If I put that hook on them, I feel like that's unique. But like. My plain mug is just a mug. Like,
my forms are pretty.
It's fine.
She painted a rubber duck to look like realistic.
Yeah, dude. Like she could do so many cool things, and I'm like, I want you to paint on my cups too. Like, yeah, I want to paint on some of yours. Like, you do like an animal, and don't even go crazy. Do an outline, or do it. I usually tell people, you do you. They always ask me, what do you want? I'm like, do whatever. Send me whatever.
There's no expectations here.
No.
Like what?
Go crazy. Go 30%. Go 70%. I don't care. Whatever. Send it to me. I'll figure it out.
So, how do you all prefer to sell your work?
I sell primarily on Etsy. I have some consignment with the Toledo Art Museum, and I do an occasional in-person show.
I'm pretty much all online Etsy. I've set up at Insika this year, which I don't know if we count that as a setup. Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's a show.
But it's a show. But like,
I consider that an in-person show.
Yeah, it is. But as far as pursuing outside much, I don't want to set up at places. I enjoy talking, obviously, but like, I like talking to people. I just don't enjoy like the setting up, tearing down, all the packing. I don't do it enough consistently to where it's like ready to go. I feel like, and it's a big like event for me to go do something. So I'll set up outside maybe twice a year at places. I don't know. I don't want to pay booth fees. I don't want to. I do decent online, so I kind of like that model. I like my like hyping work, selling work, shipping work.
Right.
Make it again, do that cycle again. Like I don't know, that always makes me excited. Like
pre-COVID, I did about at least 2 in-person shows a year.
Yeah.
And then like COVID happened, and I did Insika. I think that was really the only in-person show. I did a pop-up at a Pure Bar in Toledo, but I mean that was like a couple hours with not a ton of pieces.
Yeah.
Do you think what is your all's general price point on your work? Do you think that does that influence where you decide to sell?
Yeah, I think like in Toledo, I mean, I don't know if people are going to pay $70 for a mug in Toledo. So, I mean, they do at the art museum, but I think that's a different clientele.
Yeah. The people there that are at an art museum probably appreciate it.
They value the art.
They value art, yes. So it's a good group.
I don't sell a ton locally unless it's at the art museum, like my Etsy orders and stuff. Every once in a while I'll get a random, local order, but most of them are all over the place.
Yeah. I was saying you do mainly in person, right?
Mainly, yeah, about 50% of my actual income is in person.
Yeah.
And then I do online. It's one of those things. When I started, I was really digging into consignment, so I was reaching out to a bunch of places and saying, hey, I'm interested in selling. So I have some of those that are still going on. There's probably 3 or so galleries that are consigning that are pretty consistent and pretty good, and that's one of those big hits on inventory.
Yeah.
But I make so much inventory and I have so much finished work in the studio. Like right now, I probably have 400 or 500 pieces of finished work that are just
really
in bins up for shows or on shelves.
You're like ready to go.
Or old stuff from 2020. There's so much work that I have that, it is overwhelming because there's so many different, diverse.
Do you feel like you need a bigger space almost even?
No, I think I need to just find ways to get rid of the pieces.
I gotcha.
I don't feel, and maybe I think that's like mystery boxes and finding creative ways to get people interested in, I don't feel so proud of the price to be like, I'm willing to part with this for not much.
Yeah.
Because I just want to get rid of it and get it out. And it's quality work. It's just old work.
Yeah. It becomes tough when you move on to sometimes sell that older work.
Your interests shift a little bit on what you're prioritizing.
Yeah.
And the look of the forms are different, and you're like, that could have been a little bit better, and it's improved and it's gotten better over time. But I don't feel bad about the National Teachers Hall of Fame.
Yes.
We're there. We made it.
So it's but the in-person shows I like the most because I work from home. I see my wife and my cats on a regular basis. My assistant comes in 1 or 2 days a week, and I don't engage with people that much. So no kids and all that stuff. So I understand the stimulus is so much that you want that online, and it's so flexible to do online that why not if you can?
If you could flip your model to where you sold 90% of your work online, would you want that, or do you not enjoy that? Do you like the in-person that much? Do you?
I don't think I would want 90%. I would still want at least
a good.
I think I would still want 30% or so.
What do you need?
I think I need cash.
Or is this like a?
Yeah, go to the cash.
Yeah.
Do we know how much cash does it say?
I have no idea how much.
You're gonna tell us.
We'll find out here.
Then we gotta pay a
There's dollars in the thing here if you need them.
I got some too. Whatever.
Say it on that sign.
How much is it? We didn't catch.
There was no ticket.
I don't know where we got on.
Close.
We got on about Wichita. Here. There's $6 in here. Oh, you got it. Okay.
That's fine.
Thanks.
Quit it, Aldi baby.
My ticket.
Taking this.
There were really no tickets though. There was no ticket to get.
We should have
There
been
was a sign that said no ticket.
We should have been lady.
I think she just made that up.
We got on at the cheapest.
I know.
Location. What is the cheap one? Literally, she just took our word. What?
One time, Andy and I were in Toronto, and we had already cashed all of our changed all of our Canadian money back, and we were taking the metro because we took the train from Windsor to Toronto, which was pretty cool. So we were taking the metro back to the train station, and we didn't have any Canadian money. They didn't take credit cards, and so we're kind of stressed out. We've got our luggage and stuff, and we're like, oh, what do we do? And the lady's like, just go, just get on.
Yeah.
It would never happen in the U.S.
No.
Ever.
They'd be like, park your car,
you
bitches.
You could just get on the metro
You
for free.
dumbasses, park it. You don't have $5, no go,
Yeah.
no pass. What's wrong
Yeah.
with the U.S. sometimes? Yeah, we've talked too about as far as selling our work, we sell online a lot, and we've all had work in galleries, and it's one of those things where it's I don't know, like that used to be the goal for me. I used to want to get into like a couple of the big galleries that I had in mind.
Like a Companion or
yeah,
Detective or
that
something
that
like
used to be
or-
the ultimate goal, and now I'm like, I don't know if it is anymore, man. Like I had a featured Charlie Cummings gallery, and they are like one of the best galleries. Like the communication's amazing, the way they handle things. Like Charlie Cummings is like one of my favorite galleries. But
They're super nice people.
But shipping, like I shipped I think 45 items to them, and they sold I think 35 of them, and I got the other ones back like a month ago. You know, and that's fine. They were there for over a year. It's just one of my things. It's just like I just
rather ship out 45 individual items to
yeah, I would.
users immediately.
I just don't get a lot of joy out of boxing up 45 items, sending it down to Florida or any gallery. It's not just there, but like to any gallery, like 45 items, and then I don't know who bought them. I don't know where they go. Like
you're getting a check
Yeah.
as they sell, right? Like
yeah, I don't. I get checks from them. I get my money. You know, it's 50%. The cut's one thing, but also just like that, like satisfaction of like writing a note to my buyer and
Yeah.
giving them one of my magnets and my stickers and
It does
my
feel
business
very
card.
Compartmentalized when you see a transaction come through, you pack it, and it's like very
Yeah.
that connection is there.
Yeah,
versus,
and I think
getting a check later, it's like it doesn't. It's like cool. I just deposit.
yeah,
It's
and like I said about my cycle of like making, hyping, selling, shipping, do it again. Like I don't get that out of that.
right.
I just ship a big box of shit to a gallery, and I'm like, well, it's gone, and I'm gonna get 50%. Like,
Right.
and I appreciate what they do and all these things, but I'm also like, I don't know, like that doesn't do
Well,
it for me.
Some of that is getting you more opportunities. We talked with Tim.
Yeah, that's for sure though too. You gotta look at the positives of
And
it too. Yeah.
he was talking a lot about the opportunities that he gets in-game options for by engaging with those different galleries and going to shows
True,
and stuff
true.
like that. So if that's
The exposure
what
is
you're going for, then
the exposure is huge. Like you're sitting in a gallery or you're online on their website, which is like everyone in the world gets blasted by them that is on their mailing list. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think for me, like, you know, it's shifted, but like now, like I'm not doing this for the money. Like I have
No,
a full-time
yes,
job. Really, you know, I would like to be like respected in the field, and I would also like to do more workshops and either online, like virtually or in person. I'd like to be like a visiting artist. I really enjoy interacting with people. I like teaching. Like my techniques are an open book. Like I like sharing them. Like I will tell you all of my secrets. That's
I will
to me,
not.
like to me that's
Lies.
fun. It's fun. So I'd like to go more in that direction. And like I mean I definitely like selling and I like making. I'll do like small shows, so I don't mind sending, like I'm doing something with Saratoga, I think it's in New York, where I'm sending them 10 pieces. It's called Clay Fest, that's their holiday show, and that's about my max would be like 10 pieces, because I mean I can't make work fast enough to send more, and I've been approached by a couple places about consignment, but like I just can't keep up with it. The art museum's hard enough to like keep them stocked.
We've talked about that a lot. Like 10
Yeah.
pieces is kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna ship to like a place, ideally I don't want to send them more than 4 or 5 because I just.
And I'm always like really like, you know, thank you so much for considering me for this opportunity. Like I never want people to think like, no, I don't want to do that.
You are grateful
Because I
for
do,
the
like I am grateful.
notice,
Like I would love to. I just cannot make work fast enough.
Early on, I would feel bad if I said no. Like,
Yeah,
man,
no.
maybe they won't ask me again.
Yeah. Because
But-
you want to like, I'm a big fan of like saying yes to everything. Like
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
in the beginning, and then you just never know like how it's
Think
going
how
to
many
work
shows
out.
we
like,
applied to.
Yeah, like I don't want to turn down an opportunity.
4 years ago, and we'd even pay the fee and do it because you wanted to get into every show and put it on your CV.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I apply to like 1 to 3 things a year.
The first show I got invited to, I think, was with Charlie Cummings, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, this is!" I
Yeah.
feel like a real artist now. Like this is so cool.
They invited me.
Yeah.
That is pretty fun. It's your like, I don't know what to say your priorities shift, but like just your views of
what's important.
what's important. Yeah, like I said, like I
Or you
thought
just
like
spend
getting
your
into the
time.
gallery was the most important thing, and then kind of once I had something, I'm like, I don't think it was as cool
Well,
as
the
I thought it was.
market
Or like,
shifted, you know,
yeah,
like
that
the way
too.
that you sell work is so different than, you know, before you had to do in person, you had to show at
Yeah.
galleries because social media didn't really exist. And
Yeah.
It was like a more like static thing, and
You needed brick and mortar to sell for you.
It's incredible now that like so many people can see my art, like, and it's easy. Like, to me, I mean, so that's another, social media, another thing you have to invest time in, because, if I didn't have Instagram, I don't think I could be doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how all of us pretty much got connected. And
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
you have
My internet friends, and then become my real friends.
I love when I tell people that. I'm like, I think my Instagram friends are better friends than my friends.
Every in Sika, I always have random people like staying with me, and my husband thinks it's the weirdest thing, but I'm just like, we're all in the same like community, so
you feel like you know them.
Yeah.
You feel close because you've talked so much through direct messages.
And if they turn out to not be cool, we have enough like mutual acquaintances that like
you just ditch
it's
them.
a bad look. It's a bad look. Like,
That's why we leave Wilkerson.
Yeah.
Like, we just ditch that dude. Him and his
Don't make friends with anybody.
his hot dog fingernails and Vienna sausages.
Yeah, he surprised me with one of those.
Oh.
We had to stop at Dollar General and we were like, what's he getting?
That man loves the Dollar General.
He loves the DG.
Loves it.
And what's funny is like, he's like, where did all them fingernails go, man? I was like, dude, you
I know.
left trash like everywhere. I just threw it away, dude. I'm trying to clean up
We're
Isaac's.
trying to keep from everything blowing away in this.
Yeah, that was like when the tornado was coming, basically.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm sorry I didn't save your fingernails.
Oh, he found this like turtle shell in the creek too, and like
And
Karina,
of course that was him.
Karina was trying to like clean up like the tables and stuff, and she was like, she put it in a box and was gonna like set it on the floor. He like came and grabbed it like real quick, like, this is my turtle shell. And, like,
He's like, man, I'm gonna make
he's taking it home
mold.
with him. Yeah, he's gonna make a mold out of it.
Of course he is. He's such a beautiful mind. He's like a national treasure.
Yep.
It's like Betty White and then Brian Wilkerson.
Yeah, if you haven't had the opportunity to like meet and hang out with Brian Wilkerson, like maybe try like a small dose first before you go like full in. But
he's like, when you start drinking, you better just you got to get up out of your chair every once in a while before you like drink too much, and then you stand up and you're like, whoa, I went too far.
Yeah.
Like you pour that big glass of bourbon, and you get a full dose of Wilkerson. Woo.
Wilkerson Light.
A Wilkerson Light. He's the Bush Light.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get some gas soon.
Yeah,
Are we?
We're like,
Are we Megan in it?
How do we make the thing say?
Can use it on the steering wheel on the left hand side.
Yeah.
You can just push the up or down arrow.
85 miles we got.
Alright. So what are your all's key takeaways? What are you gonna do after the soda? Are you gonna pursue the soda firing? Are you going to build a soda kiln?
Well, you're gonna build the soda kiln, Ryan. We already talked about this. We're gonna fund the project. We're gonna help you build it. But
I'm gonna think
soda
about
kiln.
it. I'm still like on the fence of if I'm gonna build it or not.
Or did the results shift? I mean, you're kind of in the thick of it, building all that stuff, and then did the results shift some of that?
I want to do it again. Like I feel like you have to, right? Like,
Yeah.
Because you really don't have any. I didn't really have any expectations going into it, but now that I know like more about the process and the glazes and the finishes, now I've got ideas.
I think it would be fun too. So say, Ryan, you build one. We help. Whatever. It'd be nice to have just 3 people putting work in too, where we could each put in a good amount.
Right.
And shift around. Like there was a lot of us there.
Yeah.
Putting stuff in. Like.
And you can also have, like, with that much work and 3 people, you can negotiate where things go.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, I would like to get a little more of this, and you can, like, probably strategically choose what was on the pieces, whether it's a lot of glaze or, like, well, I think this one will work well in this area. Or,
Yeah. We were kind of just like, okay, what do we need to fit?
Because we were just handing pieces, and Kevin was just loading them in there based on the size, and
I mean, I
also
think
having overflow of pieces that don't fit is okay too. And
Yeah.
putting the optimal pieces in there.
he was putting a few of mine in with the intention to hide the underglaze, and I think a little bit of yours. So it's like some of that was going on, but other ones it was just like whatever fits wherever. Like,
Yeah.
I think we fit almost nearly every single
Dude,
Almost
yeah.
every
except
single
maybe
piece.
like
dude,
4 or 5.
Yeah, you had some magnets. I had like two,
I didn't really care if
ducks.
those got in.
I snuck all my cups in somehow. Like, I just kept handing mine in.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
But there wasn't really. I don't think anybody really had cups that didn't get in.
No.
Yeah.
At first, when I saw that, I was like, oh, there's no way we're going to get all this stuff in.
And then I was like, there's only 3 shelves. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
We should have put a little more.
There was a lot of stuff that fit for 3 shelves.
I feel like
3 half shelves.
Yeah, 3 halves. I wonder if we could have put a little more in the bottom, too. Like, I don't know. I know.
Yeah, I thought my stuff in the
like,
bottom looked good.
Yeah, I thought so, too. Like,
Yeah.
that's why
I
I
don't
was
think
like,
it hit cone 6, but I think he said it hit cone 5.
but I only do 5 most times.
Yeah,
anyways.
5 was still stiff, too. I think it was
Yeah.
probably cone 3, cone 4.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I might throw some of those back in the electric kiln and see if I can get the insides to gloss.
I'm going to do that with some
Hopefully
power,
that'll
too.
run off. I got the advancer, so I can set it, make sure it doesn't run onto that.
Yeah.
Or if it does, it's not.
Do you have a full, like, kiln full of advancers?
I have about half
Are you talking to me or Ryan?
I have a half a kiln.
Yeah.
I think I have 5.
1 full and 4
shelves.
halves.
You have a handful of them?
I have 5, yeah. I was having a lot of plucking with my porcelain, which was really annoying. Where like the kiln wash like wasn't enough, and the porcelain gets so close to like melting point when you fire it that it'll stick to the shelf and pull off like little tiny chunks.
Yeah.
And with the advancers, I still use like whatever wash they recommend. I use a really light coat of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't flake. You don't really have to reapply it. I mean, it's.
Do you feel like it saved you tons of cups?
Yeah, it's easy too.
And it's easy
it was
to clean.
100% worth the money.
Yeah, you get the money paid back to you by
Did not have to worry about it.
and not having cups just chipped and chunked and fucked.
Yeah, I mean that's like you're gonna have those for the rest of your life. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there's windmills.
I know. I see the windmills.
Windmills.
Where did those windmills come? Like, why did you start doing the windmills on your work? The windmills
Okay. So I live like an hour away from the Davis-Besse nuclear power plant, which had, at least they've had like one real. There was like a hole in the reactor or something. And so windmills I've just always thought are really cool. When I taught 6th grade art, we used to go on field trips, and we went to like the windmills that are close to my house. We got to go inside of them and like go around them and stuff. It was really neat. But I just thinking about like clean energy and so around the windmills I put these decals, and they look like snowflakes, but they're really made out of the nuclear symbol. So it's just kind of like a contrast between like this energy versus like nuclear energy. It's kind of
like
scary.
high
It's
risk,
kind of scary.
high
Like
reward, I guess,
I don't know. Like, and then you got like the nuclear waste and stuff. And I know the windmills can be controversial because of birds and stuff, but I'm sure coal plants kill birds too. So there's no like perfect solution.
Besides humans that are.
I just think they're really pretty too. They're cool to look at. I think I was in college maybe when they put them in BG, like at where we were at. Like I think they just like it was a new thing like to the area. They put a few up because it was pretty flat, pretty windy there. So like all of my work is like human interaction with the natural world. Everything's got like a reason behind it, or it's just pretty. But everything does have a reason.
Like the birds and the.
The birds are invasive. The ginkgos are tolerant of pollution. The cherry blossoms are an early indicator of climate change because there's been a record kept of when they bloom for the past 100 or so years, and it gets earlier and earlier. I just think it's really interesting. You change one little thing, and then there's like the butterfly effect. Like,
right.
You change this. Well, then what happens if the cherry blossoms bloom earlier? What if the pollinators aren't out yet? Like, and then if the pollinators aren't out yet, like, what else does that affect? And kind of like when they took the wolves out of Yellowstone, and then like some other population of animal exploded because like the wolves were like the apex predators, and they weren't killing these other animals, and then because these other animals, their population exploded, then this other population wasn't in check. And I just think that's really interesting.
Do you have customers ask about that? Or,
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's probably harder online because they're not probably asking that.
I always put it like in the description. I don't know, like sometimes people are like, no, I just like poppies. I don't care about the war on drugs, which is fine.
And then what about the dandelions?
Oh, so the dandelions. So I live pretty close to Lake Erie, and like 10 years ago we had this like water crisis where Lake Erie had this algae bloom. It was microcystin, which is toxic algae, and you couldn't even touch the water. So the whole area, like you couldn't shower with it, you couldn't wash your hands. You couldn't drink it. You couldn't do anything with it because of this algae. It would give you rashes. It was nasty stuff. So then they started putting like all these chemicals in the water to treat the algae. And we get algae blooms almost every year now, but they're better at treating it and I think like prepping for it. But part of the problem is fertilizer runoff. So dandelions and clovers are nitrogen fixers. Well, at least clovers are. They pull nitrogen from the air and they add it to the soil naturally. So when you put like weed and feed down and fertilizer, you're adding synthetic nitrogen to the soil, which is water soluble, which can run into, the waterways. And that, like, when you add that much nitrogen into like a water system, causes the algae to just explode. So yeah, and dandelions also, like, they prevent erosion. They've got long tap roots. They bring nutrients from the bottom of the soil up to the surface of the soil. The clovers provide like a great source of food for pollinators early in the season. But like the whole, I don't know why it's like this thing that you have to have like this green perfect yard, but most of the grass that people grow in their yards is actually like an invasive species, provides no food to pollinators, doesn't help prevent erosion, and that weed and feed stuff is proven to cause cancer. Like, it's just nasty stuff. So we stopped doing that a while ago, where we just let our yard just be a yard, like whatever. We have this big
like
field behind us
and stuff like that.
We don't have wild. We have a bunch of ground ivy that comes from the field, and we have a lot of dandelions. It probably really pisses our neighbors off.
Megan's those neighbors that everyone's
yeah,
like,
I don't care.
Spray your yard.
No, I'm not gonna spray my yard. I have kids. Like, I don't care.
I'm just messing.
We live on a cul-de-sac in the township, so.
Like, cut your grass.
Yeah, no, we do cut our grass. We do cut our grass.
Andy.
Yeah.
Jumo. Andy
I do not Andy mows. I've never.
Is that one of the boy jobs?
Yeah, it's a boy job.
That's
I've
a boy
never
job.
like. I honestly don't even know how to turn on a lawnmower. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. And Tony, you say you enjoy the mowing, right?
I don't know if I enjoy it. I'm to that point in my life where recently I push mow forever.
Oh, you still push mow?
I push mow. It's like an hour of push mowing, which is good exercise, great. But like now I just say like, I'm just dying when I'm done. I'm sweaty. I push mow for an hour. I'm like, I'm gonna get a rider soon, because like I've talked already, like time's valuable. If I got like a little zero,
yeah,
I could like cut the time by
lawnmower. You gotta get a cup holder or somewhere.
Yeah, like cut the time by half-ish.
Bush out there,
Then bush lattes. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, I just like value time so much more. I don't know. I just want to do what I want to do.
Hey, you guys, we only have 710 miles left until we get to our meeting spot.
So this is 12:21 a.m.
Yep.
Is this accounting for the time change?
I would imagine it is.
Yeah.
It's an iPhone.
But
It
again,
knows.
that's just getting to your friends.
Yeah.
And then you got to go 2.5
Then I got
home.
2.5
And then I got
hours
2
after
home, and you got an hour. I might just go
Man,
stay
Isaac
with
needs
Ryan.
to move closer.
I'll tell my wife, I'll be like, I'm staying in Cincy. Figure out
Because
what
we really
to do.
fucked up the timing. I don't know if that was Isaac's fault or what. We didn't realize the day difference and having to get back. We thought everything was a day earlier on building and firing and everything.
Bunch of artists that are like, oh, we'll just figure it out,
It's like it was on the
Thank
sign
God
up.
we are teachers. I love how he's just like, yeah, you guys are teachers. You got nothing to do. Yeah, Isaac, we don't
I feel bad
we don't
for
have
me.
5.
I'm like, why do you feel bad for me?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't have 5 kids between the two of us. This guy works at home with no kids and a couple cats or something.
And my company's pretty flexible. I get I had to get off work.
You
but
could
it
have
wasn't
worked.
a
You
big
could have
deal.
worked out there. Like,
Yeah. I'm
we
looking
gotta
forward
take
to
care of
tomorrow.
tiny humans.
I got the day off tomorrow too because I was like, well, I'm gonna
Do
get
you?
back late and I'm gonna sleep. So
yeah, you're gonna be dead.
Yeah. So then I'm gonna. Yeah, I got some errands I'm gonna run.
Sarah
while-
already asked me. She's like, if you come home like really late or whatever, she's like, the kids have been sleeping in our bed. Do you think you could just sleep on the couch when you go home? I'm like, so I gotta.
You're like, I've been sleeping on the floor the last.
Sleeping
few
on the
days.
floor with Wilkerson snoring.
It's a young
He
party
is
and
so
you're not
fucking loud this
invited.
He is like, and he goes up and down.
God.
He goes up and down. And at one point, I don't know if this was in my dreams, but I think I let out like a little fart. And I think, I swear Brian was like, dude, you gotta put your thumb down there if you think you're doing that. Did he say that or not?
Oh my god, I bet he did.
I don't know if it was in my
I
dreams.
didn't hear that.
I don't know if it was in my dreams, but he's like, man, you better put your thumb down there if you're gonna be farting. And I'm like in my head going, Am I dreaming? Am I drifting? Or is that Wilkerson telling me to plug my butthole?
I'm gonna crash this van.
It was so... I was like, man, I just drank a lot of beer. I'm sorry, guys. You're snoring, Wilkerson. You put a thumb in your mouth.
Yeah, that is good. Oh.
Yeah, but he went in spurts. Like, he would be... he'd be like fine, he'd be quiet, and all of a sudden then it just like a chainsaw revved up, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Did you hear him in those rooms?
I did not hear
You
him.
son
I
of a bitch.
didn't. I slept like a baby. It was great.
Yeah,
I just slept pretty good,
He was
too.
the worst this morning, I think.
Yeah, this morning, and I woke up at 4:30 and I went and checked the kiln.
Right.
So like I got up and I'm like, well, it's 4:30. I'm supposed to get up at 5 anyways to walk over there. I'm like, I'll go fight fucking cougars.
That's
and
why
do
we had
whatever.
to unload it so early, right?
Yeah, it was all me, you guys.
You prop that stuff up and you take the...
Well, he told me to take the top heap at the bottom, and I went over and they were already out. Did we do it last night before we went
I
to
don't
bed?
remember.
Apparently somebody did.
So did you prop the kiln lid then?
No, I did not prop the kiln lid, but I pulled the damper out more.
Okay.
Pulled the damper out a couple more inches to let it cool a little more. It was at... What did I tell you guys it was?
I think it was at
8:70.
450 something. I thought.
Oh, that was way later. But like at
Oh.
4:30 in the morning, I texted you guys. It was, or I told you. You
I
asked
think
me
you
like
did say
I don't
7
know.
something.
780 or 870. I can't remember. He told me if it was like 500, I could do something, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't quite there.
No. We could
So
have
you
opened it
get-
a little earlier if it wasn't for Pot or Paul's snoozing.
So you get to go home to a nice couch. when you
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks, honey.
Why'd you go sleep in the girls' bed?
I could, but they have lofted beds.
Yeah.
Climb up,
It's a long climb for you.
drill my head in the ceiling.
I'm sure the couch will be great for your back after being in a car.
I
all
don't
day.
mind the couch too much.
Being in a car all day is going to be nice for your liver, though.
Yeah, my liver needs a break.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. Like I did, I'm trying to compare it with Trevor's because I went to Trevor's last year, and he did cone 10 soda,
Okay.
but we didn't have to build anything, so it was going there.
Load
I brought
glaze.
a bunch of. I want to say I brought a bunch of bisqueware in that clay, so I had to do a new clay body because I don't have cone 10 clay, and that was so it was a little bit like I don't know what to expect with this beat. I did B-Mix 10, and it, you know B-Mix is still a little cracky even in cone 10, and the B-Mix 5 is definitely cracks a lot with the handles and stuff, but yeah, so it was like new clay body, and I threw it a little thin, so making some of that was like, okay, I know I need to throw it a little thicker next time, and then where to load stuff, and so that was more learning to glaze to wide, and
For
I had a
that
bunch of
atmosphere.
downtime with just him and I, and he would go do family stuff, and I would just be in the studio all night, like throwing a bunch of production, and I brought a big damn box or 2 damn boxes back home with stuff in it.
I love how he goes and just makes a whole nother batch.
I mean, I did it. It was like a 4-day trip,
Yeah.
I think, or 5-day trip. I was there, so I was like, hey, this is like that's kind of my vacation is doing stuff like this, where I really love the soda firing, the wood firing, and stuff. And I'm not gonna focus on doing that for selling because
You can.
I was nervous about bringing stuff to sell that was soda, not here, but soda fired to my shows and stuff. So I'm like, is it too different? And then I'm like, am I attached too much to the pieces? Because they look amazing.
You might have
I'm gonna
some-
feel that with some of these pieces.
You might have
too.
some sentimental value, yeah, to them.
And I'm like, I only do these every now and then. And it's really just for me. This
Maybe you just got to pull one that's like your favorite from each firing and make sure you keep
Yeah.
one or something. I
Yeah,
try and
so-
did that. I tried to do that when I fired with Justin Reese. Just like I've got a piece from each of those firings, just to like kind of a memento.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'll probably there's certain shows that are more art shows that are juried that people will probably appreciate them a little more, and I'll have a little more space to explain it versus
Yeah.
one of those monthly markets I do that are not quite that clientele.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, why are you trying to sell this for $30 more?
Yeah, why
No.
is this one so much more? And then you get
Well, I
into
drove
conversation.
14 hours to Kansas, and
Yeah.
they, like people not in this world don't understand those things.
And then also the aesthetic. Like some people are just like Rachel doesn't really like the look of wood and soda fired stuff. And I'm
Really?
like, oh, I love that.
Oh man,
And
I mean, if it's like gritty, ashy, wood-fired, I'm like, that's not my favorite look.
I didn't at first. It took me like once I understood the process more, like I had a lot more respect for it.
Yeah.
because you know what it represents and what.
Yeah, and I understood like what was happening like on the surface more of the clay, and so yeah, I can appreciate it a lot more now.
Yeah, I think the parts of the soda and all that I'm like a little iffy on still is the, you know, when you clean it up and the bottoms are all sanded and it looks kind of rough. And I'm like, I just need to be more okay that it's going to look like that, and that's just part of the process, that it's not going to look perfect and nice on the bottom. And then pricing it, I'm like, how do I price this stuff?
Yeah.
Well,
it's just like people who wood fire all the time, if they would, you know, maybe put a little sipper cup out and they're selling it for $40-$50 because they make hundreds of pieces when they fire like a big anagama or something. I don't know. And then for us, we're like, well, we don't do this often, so we up price it because it's like not our normal work.
But it's probably not, like, I'm not even comfortable with the amount of up pricing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a mug, that's standard $36 mug with soda, I'm like, what is this, like 42, 45 maybe?
Yeah. I mean, you can't like double it. I mean, can you? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it's a
Isaac
fine line.
Or Kevin was like, yeah, you should add like $10 more or something. If it's like a mug, you know, or a oil bottle. And
I love how Isaac was immediately thinking about selling that pumpkin.
Oh yeah.
Like, Isaac will sell that thing. That thing's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna keep it. I'll guarantee it. Be like, what do I want a pumpkin for? Even though it's gorgeous.
yeah, I mean, that needs to be his, like, he was keeping the cone pack for the remembering the kiln frame, but it's like, you know, keep that.
I took one of the
pumpkin's
cones.
Awesome. Oh,
I
you
did too.
Did you?
I
We
did.
all snuck one.
I did.
I did not, but.
No. Yeah, they look gorgeous. You were like, this looks better than my
Pretty.
work.
It does.
And those were the bottom ones that didn't even, like, bend or anything.
They were like juicy. They were just, and you could see the number on it still. Like,
Yeah.
those were cool. It's silly, the little things.
We'll see.
Yeah, so it'll probably take me like fucking 6 months to even finish cleaning the bottoms of these and sell them.
Really?
We'll see. I don't know.
I don't know what I'll do either. I know I need to refire some, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and reevaluate when I get back to like double check everything, because I feel like I gave it a good little one-see look over and
Yeah, and I don't know. I wonder if. Do you think you appreciate them more by the time you get them finished and you get to reflect back on it versus like immediately? I mean, it is really enjoyable when you first unload the kiln.
I don't know. I kind of like that initial unloading. That's like Christmas, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when we unload kilns at home, even. It's always exciting.
Yeah.
But now it's like so many variables.
Do you still get that at home with the oxidation firing, or is it like you have expectations because it's like?
I mean, I feel like with my work,
I still get excited.
I layer all those underglaze transfers, all those things, and that's pretty predictable. But when I put the white over it and I thin in areas and I get like these like transparencies coming through, and like these like some areas get opaque, some are I get some like fun little like happy accidents that like I kind of can gauge for them, but also don't totally know they're going to happen.
Some of those colors intensify by the time they get to glaze temperature.
Yeah. So there's some cool little things happening.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to see what these pieces look like finished and like.
See, I just find like some of those pieces are almost, I would say, ruined that I have. Like they're almost like not saleable. There's no imagery. They're actually the one was almost chippy rough, which is totally fine. But it's like that's where my dilemma is of like, if I'm gonna fire a kiln, and let's say it's all my work, I build one of these kilns and I fire it, and I lose even 15-20% of the work. Like it gets.
Why do you think they had that like flakiness? Like what caused that?
The underglaze, some of it.
Okay, like bubble.
I think I would cut way back on that. I mean, I would have to figure out solutions to not have that happen. Because if I was losing a ton of work,
or almost making your screens like decals instead.
Yeah,
and doing
something. Because I'm just saying, like when I fire my electric kiln 1027 to cone 5, I don't lose a piece.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might have a tumbler that ovals.
Yeah.
I might, and truly, I almost don't lose a piece. I might have one or two that don't look as good as I would hope they did for some
very
reason.
low failure rate.
Yeah, and it's like that's huge.
Yeah.
And the amount of work you just can't fit much in that thing. Like, I think you're doing that, like Isaac said, it's for his hobby. Like, this is his hobby kiln.
Yeah.
Like, he ain't really building that to make, like, his work and more money, or definitely ain't gonna make more money.
Yeah, because he's like, let's add like $5 to that. Like, was it, I don't know, what's that pump? 40? No, it's 50. No.
Yeah. And then he's like, where he's at, so like it'd have to be online work for him. Like, to him to put some wall mugs in there would be rad, though, to like see those textures.
Yeah.
And, like, he could do raw ones, and they could be cool.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember if I like the raw clay ones better. I think I like the ones with glaze better than the raw clay.
Yeah.
I expected the raw, it would be a little more like Meg's with the carbon trapping and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
a little more depth with the glass. But I think that's just with more firings, it would look more like that. But the glazes were really good.
I like the red.
Panama red inside those cups was amazing.
Panama red on 2 of those ones I had was really gorgeous. I don't know if the Going Rogue went so well. I know the Jasper looked, or the copper.
The ancient copper, yeah.
It
I
looked
didn't really look at those when you got
It
them
looked
out,
okay.
but
I need to inspect
I saw
them
it
too.
from above.
Let's put it this way: it did not look like ancient copper in the sense of like on his cups.
Yeah.
Even Isaac said like, "Oh, on the outside it's better than it is on the inside of my cups," and I put it on the inside. And then now it's soda with that, like.
Yeah, I wonder what the soda with the copper would look like on the outside. All right, we just hit. This was over 2 hours already.
Oh my gosh, nice.
Past the time. All right, we should probably stop here any minute. But we'll wrap up. All right, y'all want to leave one more? Tell them where to find you, all that good stuff.
All right, I'm Meghan Yarnell. I'm at Meg Callie, MEGHCALLIE.
And I'm Tony Young. I am at Youngy YOUNGY_03 on Instagram, and Megan is the one who talked way too much on this podcast.
Are y'all going to be at NCCA this coming year?
Yes.
Yeah,
you
for
can find
sure.
us at
In
the
Richmond.
Where
Hot
are we?
Stars pop-up. I'm not sure the location yet.
Yeah,
but you can follow our Instagram also. It's at Pop Stars. Like,
Yeah, we have a
They
really
renamed it, right?
We renamed it.
Yeah, we have a really rad venue already booked. There's probably going to be 15 to 18 artists there, and
A really bad
should be
venue.
awesome.
It's not a good venue.
Rad.
Rad.
Rad as in
I was
I'm
like,
old and
Rad
use
as
the
in
word
I
rad.
lived through the 80s.
What
rad.
other words would I say? It's bussin'.
Yeah, it's bussin'.
Mega bussin'.
Lit.
I don't know.
Lit. Lit's a
Yeah.
little past.
Fire.
So fire. Straight fire.
Yeah, you all are all up on all that. All right. Thanks so
Hella
much.
fire.
Hella
We'll see how the next 10 hours go.
Oof.
But,
We might be back.
yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Whale Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.